7 days. Wow. 7 days until the start of the National Football League for your Philadelphia Phillies. Phillies. For your Philadelphia Eagles. Hey, I've got the Phillies on my mind because I think they're going to run down the Braves. I do. I think they're going to run the Braves down in the National League East. Just looking at the standings prior to coming out of here, and I think they're going to run them down. Plus, you come off the All-Star game. You had the World Cup in Philadelphia. Good things going on there, man. So we'll see what goes on with this Eagle team heading into camp. That'll be next week. Camp next week. Man, the teams reporting, I mean, there are a boatload of teams today. The Bills are going to camp. The Seahawks are already in camp. The 49ers are already in camp. The Dolphins are heading into camp. Man, again, and by the way, in 2 weeks, you're going to have the Hall of Fame game. 2 weeks, we're going to have the Hall of Fame game. So I got to tell you, man, thank you very much each and every single day. This man starts off the program reminding everybody, Super Chats go to the top. Please hit the like button. Thank you very much. We are going to have a special treat today. At 4:30, we're going to teach you some offense. Mark Trestman's coming on the program. By the way, let me go over to Adam Schefter. Hell, he did about 15,000. I had him on the weekend show this past weekend, and I think that thing's already got 15,000 views on it. Yeah, just about 15,000 views on it. And Adam Schefter tweeted it out. Let me see where that thing's at right now. It might be over 1 million views on what people are talking about. One of the hottest books out there on football in offensive minds. And here it is. Excuse me, I'm wrong here. It's 216,000 people have checked this out with Mark Trestman. And this is the most important book on coaching football. Get this. This is the most important book on coaching football published in 40 years. Ernie Accorsi, former NFL general manager, Colts, Cleveland Browns, New York Giants. I know Ernie Accorsi. With forwards by Tony Dungy and Steve Young. And we will have him on the program, and we will talk to him. That'll be at 4:30. Look at this thing, man. It talks about pretty much every single, here, let's just, look at this here. Game management decisions. Coaches must lead, not escalate. Talks about the hand wrist. Talks about alignment. How a quarterback gets a team to the line of scrimmage. Most important thing in feet, the gripping of the football. The gripping of the football also has importance in accuracy. Here's another one here. The quarterback should communicate every word clearly and authoritatively. Quarterback should look at the practice script before practice. Reviewing the game plan. One of the most important things in here also, the quarterback's number one responsibility when he gets to the line of scrimmage. Some of the things we talk about with Jalen Hurts. We will talk with Mark Trestman. That'll be at 4:30 Eastern time. And again, one of the most accomplished guys out there. And we will talk to him and get his thoughts. Kyle, appreciate you coming in here. Says we might need a hotline number for Reyes and LJ for therapy this year. Oh, my God, this is going to be a great year. Because you know why? The reason that it's going to be a great year, there's going to be answers finally. There's no more and no one else to blame. I mean, we're going to get answers. We're going to get answers about your coach. We're going to get answers about, and really, you know what we're really going to find out? Who really was the most important person during this 5-year run? Howie? Nick or Jalen. Look, they all have to work in sequence together. I get it. But one guy can be more important. And we're going to find this out. You're going to get answers. Can Howie do this with anybody like John Schneider has in Seattle? Absolutely. We're going to find this out. By the way, I want to start it out because we were in a conversation with an agent. I won't say who. What do you make of this? And I tweeted it out over on my X account. And I tweeted this out. What do you make of this? And what we found out, we are hearing that at the recent NFL combines, it's been revealed that Jalen Hurts' representatives at Clutch Sports approached the Eagles about extending or restructuring his contract this offseason, but the organization declined. What do you make of that? Sills and Kyle kiss each other on the lips. Oh, we will, buddy. We will, watching how dumb you are. What do you make of that? What do you make of the Eagles declining? According to reports with people at the combines, that Clutch Sports went to them and the Eagles declined to give Hurts an extension or restructure. Just, not a main topic here, but just something to think about. Why? If you're trying to build an offense right now for the future and you're trying to attract really good coordinators, why wouldn't you want everyone to know you're committed to Jalen Hurts? Why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you want that known? He's our guy for the next 5 years. Why wouldn't you want that? I mean, no. RC, I don't know what the number was. I don't know. Okay? And no one else knows what the number was. Because remember, that was prior to Mahomes getting that contract extension. So that was prior to the contract extension for Patrick Mahomes when he got 63. So I don't know what the number was. Hurts wants guaranteed money, and the Eagles want to see his production in this new offense. Okay? Hurts needs a new agent. I'm not stepping on the field without my guarantee. Well, that's going to be this coming offseason, Hollywood. Hurts is betting on himself. So, you know what? My friend, they have control of Jalen Hurts. Even though he has a no trade, they could franchise tag him for the next 3 or 4 years after his deal's done. They're not in any hurry. I mean, now this coming year will be interesting because the guarantees in the contract, again, I don't know how that works. You've got years remaining on your deal, but you don't have guarantees. You could be looking at a holdout this coming season. Okay? Seals, wouldn't you want to wait if you're the Eagles to see if he can run the offense? If I'm Nicole Lynn and I'm Clutch, I want to be paid on what I've done. I want to be paid with what we've accomplished. Nobody in the NFC has a resume like Jalen Hurts. And I'm speaking like I would be an agent. Name me another guy. I don't care what kind of arm talent you think some of these other guys have. Name me another guy in the NFC that has accomplished what we have accomplished with me as a quarterback at the helm. Nothing hurts a Carter in the middle of a new deal. See here. Hurts has already said winning comes before championships. It might be interesting to see what he's willing to sacrifice financially if he does ball out and get the extension. That front part, folks, I kind of believe it. Because that was Brady's mentality. So I'm sending a super right now that I was going to save for later, but it's perfect into this topic. Thank you, Kimbo. So this year is the tell-all year for sure. There will be lots of fingers pointed if they fail. But for me, Howie made all these unnecessary changes. He will have to answer to us and be accountable. Wait a minute. Sills doesn't stats get you paid? No. I'm talking how that agent is talking. That's not my take. My take is she's going to say this. Like they asked for the contract extension in camp. Personally, he's not a $63 million player. But if you're going to look at how and when they ask for the money, he's going to go like this because he can't talk about talent. He's got to talk about his accomplishments. He can't talk about great arm strength, pre-snap read ability. He can't talk about that because he doesn't have any of that. Gotcha, Cody. I'm not. I'm with you, bro. Hurts doesn't strike as a guy that demand too much. Just pay the man fairly. Thank you, Kim. Appreciate it. How much do you think Nicole Lynn factors in Jalen not running? Look at Rosenhaus pulling Carter out of the game. She's protecting her golden goose, just like Drew. I would say that there's something to that, Kim. Okay? I would say that. Here, Kim, I'll give you an example. Down in Tampa, one of the reasons that they're hedging on Baker Mayfield's contract extension, Kim, is because they don't believe he protects himself well enough. How many times do you hear Brady on broadcast say the quarterbacks of today don't protect themselves good enough? Get down. Get down. Live to play another play. You hear him constantly on the broadcast. So when you got an agent, hey, going to work on Monday matters. If you're just reckless running into walls and you're not protecting yourself, you're hurting yourself financially. You just are. Like this year, Jalen Carter gets hurt. Part of the Eagles are going to be happy because then they'll give him a less than market value deal. If Jalen Carter gets hurt, there's a silver lining there. Great. I don't have to pay him $35. I'll pay him $32, $30. I don't have to pay him top market money. So the Eagles win either way. If the kid plays great this year, if Jalen Carter plays great, okay, perfect. That means they're probably in the NFC title, and the defense is probably what? Top 10? And if that's the case, the Eagles are not going to have a problem paying the guy that. They're not going to, and they're going to go, okay, well, he bet on himself, and we're good, okay? If the guy gets hurt, the team doesn't perform well on defense for whatever reason, they're also going to go, great. Now we get to pay him less than market value. Either way, the Eagles actually win in that deal. Hit the like button. Appreciate it. So, Kim, no doubt your agent is talking to you and telling you, listen, do this, do that. It'd be beneficial. You have these conversations all the time on the longevity of your career. Do you want to play long? Do you want to play short? You're looking at getting to that third deal if you're Jalen Hurts. Rookie deal, this last deal, and another one. And if you're good enough to get one last one in your high 30s, that's just the silver lining in that conversation. So if you look at Hurts' draft class in 2020, he ranks third behind Burrow and Herbert, Tua is fourth, can be used this as leverage in negotiations? Yeah. Yes. Yes, all of that. No doubt. I think it's kind of interesting, though, the Eagles said no. They said no. Sills, and when Nicole Lynn calls Howie's bluff and she sees that the rest of the league values Hurts for his accomplishments, she's getting fired. Hurts' highest value is with the birds. It is. Where the hell is Nikita Zander? I see this morning John act like the smartest guy in the room, and Zander acting like it's cool for a coach to use GPT. Go ask Fangio if he would use Chat GPT. John, I dare you. Look, hey, Marsh, it's a tool. I think more teams are going to start using this thing. I think more you get technology. But, dude, I do not believe in any way, shape, or form that a guy like Fangio or anybody who's a play-calling offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, is going to use this Chat GPT to sit there and go, what play should I run? Maybe that's on the horizon. Maybe that is. I don't know. A Nickite. That's what it is, a Nickite. Thank you, Marsh. Since becoming a starter in 21, number one in wins, number one in rushing yards. I don't give a shit about rushing yards. Number one in rushing TDs. Don't give a shit about that either. Number one in total TDs. Don't give a shit about that either. Top 10 in passing. Yeah, he's 10th. Here. Top 10 passers. Passing quarterbacks. Get this. Everything that guy just said right here, Jay, Jalen doesn't want to do anymore. He doesn't want to run. He doesn't want to run for touchdowns. Let's see what he does here in passing here. Let me see here. And by the way, Burrow's missed a whole year in there. Yeah, Hurts is 10th. Here's the quarterbacks ranked ahead of him. Baker Mayfield, Trevor Lawrence, Joe Burrow, Dak Prescott, Matthew Stafford, Josh Allen, Justin Herbert, Jared Goff, and Patrick Mahomes. What guy on that list doesn't fit? You want Vic? If he's going to run too. That's right. Let's see here. Let's do this. Let's see where Jalen Hurts is in the passing touchdowns. Passing quarterback touchdowns since 2021. Let's see where he is. Top 10 passing quarterbacks, TD passes. Let's see where he is. Okay. Here's the top 10 quarterbacks passing yards or passing touchdowns since 2021. Mahomes 153, Allen 153, Goff 149, Burrow 144, Stafford 141, Prescott 137, Herbert 132, Mayfield 122, Lamar Jackson 119, and Aaron Rodgers 115, and Rodgers missed an entire season. Let's see where Jalen is on this list. Hurts is 13th with 104. Cousins, Tagovailoa are ranked ahead of him. This is why you're changing schemes too. Seals, back when you played, wins mattered more than stats. Why do you keep dwelling on Hurts' numbers? That's not true. Your individual accomplishments matter more than wins in a team sport. Dude, wins matter when you play a single sport like boxing or tennis or golf. When you play on a team sport, I mean, the guy that Jeffrey Simmons just signed with the worst team in football, the biggest deal for a defensive tackle. What are you talking about? Stop with a false narrative. It's not true. You are paid on your own sandbox accomplishments. How productive are you? How good are you? Not how good your team is. If that was the case, Myles Garrett would never get paid. He played on the Browns. Ain't no coach using that shit sells. I'm going to hit you with a Ryan Clark quote. That's non-football in you. What's up, everyone? Hey, by the way, one thing on Ryan Clark, I think the guy's a total asshole, but I don't celebrate when guys get fired like that. That's not cool. That's not for me, you know? I can't stand the guy. I hated his takes. I thought he was a race baiter. But at the end of the day, yeah, I don't do victory laps over people getting canned. Not cool. You know? Whatever. Let's see here. Let's see. If you bring up rushing stats for a quarterback, the dude sucks as a passer. Yeah, and the only place that really works is with Lamar Jackson, really. Because Lamar's turning out to be a pretty good passer. Cumulative stats, more by availability than performance. Dude, you're paid on what you accomplish, not what the team accomplishes. He didn't get fired for saying that to Peter. That's all the rumors. No one in here knows business. Disney has layoffs coming. Yeah, Jay, you know why Disney's laying people off? They're not getting their return on the NBA. They didn't get their return on Major League Baseball. That's why they dumped it. They pay so much money on the NFL for the broadcasting rights, and they're not getting the return because of all the shitty shows they have. And that's why they're layoffs. Over 18 million people in the last 13 years have left ESPN as a viewer. It's the most expensive on all your cable service channels. It's the most expensive channel. And 20% of the people that actually has a cable service like Comcast watch it. Nobody wants to air ESPN anymore. Agreed. People are speculating that RC got fired because he disagreed with Peter Schrager or disrespect. Who gives a shit if he disrespected Peter Schrager? And if they fired him for that, it's typical ESPN. Guys who beat their meat from sunrise to sundown watch ESPN. McAfee's ESPN. McAfee's Pat McAfee. Let's see here. Yeah, you don't get paid on if a team goes 14-3. You get paid on how well you do. Jimmy G signed a 5-year deal worth $140 million, and he's ass. Okay? Jimmy G was a good football player in a good system. And by the way, good looking, Kim says. Thank you. By the way, one thing else too on being paid. You're paying average quarterbacks exceptional money today because of the money that's being generated. The money that's being generated today in the NFL because of gambling, all of that shit, make no mistake, like average players are getting great money. Oh, one more thing. Zander, how many people got to tell you Nick is a stiff? has no answers and is on the hot seat. Seeing your guest tell you that this morning, and you and John had no answers, just like your coach buddy. Damn. Well, he'll be on at 3:30. You can get him at 3:30, Marsh. By the way, Mark Trestman will join us at 4:30. I heard that. I watched that. Guy had no answers. I thought I was listening to myself with the kid talking. Dan is far better a talk host than Pat McAfee, and he makes $60 million. What a world. Thank you. I think that too. Hey, oink, oink, my good man, my wife says. Hey, listen, everyone says the same shit. I believe I do a better show than McAfee too. However, that really doesn't matter. Hey, I learned one thing now with this whole new platforms and all this. Yeah, this got nothing to do with it. So the Eagles trying to get rid of Hurts. Mac Jones is going to be cheap, and teams have deeper cap space than the Eagles. Mac Jones is going to go somewhere and be a player. He's going to be the next Sam Darnold. You watch. So let me see something here. Jimmy Garoppolo. Oh, by the way, I just pulled this up. The best offensive lines in 2025. The Broncos, the Colts, the Bears third, the Rams fourth, the Niners fifth, the Bills sixth, and the Eagles seventh. Steelers 8, Giants 9, Chiefs 10. I mean, you're making it sound like the Philadelphia Eagle offensive line a year ago was dog shit. And that was all your troubles. Dude, I think you're in for a rude awakening with that old line. Any team in the country would love to have the seventh best offensive line in football. So if your offensive line, your quarterback, or your running back, or your wide receivers can't elevate with the seventh best O-line in football, you got a problem. You're not talking like Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow had the 28th worst offensive line. We're not talking like that. You guys had the seventh best O-line. So as I said earlier about Mina Kimes, she's a chat GPS, knows nothing about sports. She's terrible. She's the same person, Kim, that rooted on that guy in the Olympics to beat the shit out of all them women. And then when that stuff came out that the guy actually turned out to be a dude, and it was a guy, the IOC said it was a guy, she never even came back and said that, she was calling everybody a homophobe or all that other stuff. And you're like, it was a guy beating women up, assaulting women at the Olympics. And ESPN didn't do anything about that. I mean, there was no follow-up, no accountability, calling people like you hate transgender. That's not the case. It was a dude. Coach screwed Mac. I think that whole transition up in New England hurt Mac Jones. He's the Ray Rice of the Olympics. Mac Jones is hot garbage. No one is signing him ever again. He said the same shit about Sam Darnold. Not even in the same stratosphere as Hurts. Well, wait a second, Jay. Wait a second here. Is Sam Darnold in the same stratosphere as Jalen Hurts now? He's a better passer. He's been on multiple teams. He's won 14 games in 2 consecutive years. Is Sam Darnold? Sam Darnold has been the winningest quarterback since 2022. Is he hot garbage? And he's been on 5 teams. Is he hot garbage? No, I'm not that. That's not what I'm doing. I'm not replacing Jalen Hurts with Mac Jones. Sam Darnold is even better than Mac Jones. No. I'm talking about he's been more productive than Jalen Hurts the last 3 years. I heard ESPN lost a shitload of money on WWE. Not a shocker. Hey, watch this. Hey, Jay, do you think you can go to a Super Bowl with a non-elite quarterback? Even Sills, the Hurts-hating Supreme, knows Mac won't replace. No, they're going to have to replace him with somebody like Joe Burrow. Sam Darnold's only been to 1 Super Bowl. Let's chill out. Let's see him get to 2 Super Bowls, and then we can compare him to Hurts' body of work. Hurts' body of work is based on team accomplishments, nothing more. He has done nothing in his personal career that is exceptional. Where? The 2,900 passing yards? The 3,200 passing yards? Where individually has he done anything exceptional? $4,000, 30 touchdowns. Where is that? His stuff is all team accomplishments. Okay? He was carried in 24. Dude holds multiple records for what? The Eagles have went to 3 Super Bowls with non-elite quarterbacks in the last 9 years. That's a great line. That's right. Flacco and Wentz, Foles, and Hurts. Great call. Hey, Sills, you see the video of the old timer making the kids start at the Cubs game for national anthem? Gotta love the older generation. Funny, old thoughts sometimes, they still work, you know? Here's again why this guy misses everything that they're. Listen to this. Just because Hurts not throwing for 4K and choking in the playoffs like Dak or Josh Allen doesn't mean he didn't manage to get to 2 Super Bowls. Okay, Philadelphia. Then why are you asking him to do everything different this year? How come you can't answer that? With all of his accomplishments, why are they not happy? Why did they extend him? I just got through telling you they told Nicole in Clutch Sports, no, we want to see him run this offense. Why? Why? What's your answer? Why are they asking him to do something different? Tell me. I'm curious. He still doesn't get this. Says, why did San Francisco move off Montana DeYoung after all his winning? Actually, he was said on this program, Mr. Bartolo even said it. Biggest mistake he ever made was allowing that to happen and allowing that move to go on. And you got to remember, those are 2 Hall of Fame quarterbacks. And Montana was coming off an injured year. The following year, Montana took the Chiefs to the AFC Championship game, just for the record. They aren't happy with it because they don't have an OC that could replicate the success he had doing that. Now they realize he's getting older and needs to progress as a passer to stay healthy. something he's never shown. Answer for you, Sells. He can't run, won't run, or isn't allowed to run. I think it's the first two. All right. Sells, you keep saying he hasn't done that's exceptional. He's had 4,000. Then why are they every time they post shit like this? Why are they changing? If you have all this success and you think he's done exceptional, why are they changing? Dude, you constantly contradict yourselves. How he knows the margins of error with Hurts is getting less and less the more he refuses to run. That's a great take. Here, are you trying to fuck with us? Did you not ask for change? No, I didn't. Did you not want more passing? Not at the expense of him not running. No. I would never have changed anything. I've told you that from day one. The more he passes, the less you'll win. You're damn right. The more he passes, the more you'll lose. Okay. Fence straddling on what? Tell me. I'm curious what you're talking about. Bro, I can't wait not to have to talk to ass bags like this, and I get to talk to some intelligent human beings that understand football instead of douchebags like this who have no idea what the fuck they're talking about. None. My God almighty. Dude, you need a crayon book like this. Seattle's changing after they won the Super Bowl with the new OC. And your lines, they're not changing anything what they're doing. They just changed the OC. They're not changing anything. Why is a offense that was so predictable changing such a bad thing? Because you're changing into something that your quarterback can't do. That's why. Here, let's get it. I haven't even got to the topics yet. Come on, Sills, what? Come on, Sills, what? Name me a place that he's run a spread offense. In his 3 years at Bama, in his 3 years, 2 years, or 1 year was it, at Oklahoma, and so far his 6 years in the NFL, where's he run a spread offense? Like where? And when Alabama wanted to run a spread offense, they fired him. All I care about is winning. And as a fan, that is exactly what you should be caring about. Players get paid on what they accomplish individually. I do not want to see her turn his I do not want to see her turn his back on the defense. He can't even see the defense when it's in front of his eyes. Where are we going with this? If the Eagles hadn't gone to the Super Bowl, Eagle fans would be wanting him gone for the same stats Sills is giving you now. Here. Dude wants to bring up the 27th ranked passing game in your face. Well, it's true. Then tell us, why are you changing? Yeah, no, I'm asking you. If you're quoting all those things that he's done, and all those things that they've accomplished, why are they changing? Why wouldn't you have done the same thing? No. I'm asking you. I know what they're doing. You're bringing up all the shit that they have done, Philadelphia. You're bringing up all the things that they've accomplished, which has been a lot. I've never thought the guy was a passer. Ever. I never thought the guy would ever be a pocket passer, and he's never going to be. So I run the guy. Well, they don't want to run him now. Now you want him to throw the ball? And they're changing to that? Why? If they're so successful with what he's accomplished, why are they changing? Why are they changing? Backtrack what? Are you? My God. Oh, my God. No. I'm telling you, the media are in the head, and you're taking after their entertainment. I don't understand that. Yes, I know they're changing, but you asked, what has he done exceptional? There's your answer. He has done it. Well, then again, if that is so exceptional, why are they now completely going to change it inside out? Whether they are changing it or not doesn't change history. No. Right. Okay. Why wouldn't you have just run with what you were doing? Here, see this? Thank you. Because if that's the case, I know you don't know what you're talking about. Don't worry, Mark Trestman will be on at 4:30. The transition plan has been in place. They're giving Nick and Jalen their own shovel to dig their own graves. Howie's quarterback factory is his ticket to getting all the credit for the success in Philadelphia. Oh, by the way, if you notice, that's the case with Nick. Team wins, Howie gets the credit. Team loses, Nick gets shit on. Jalen Knight's been scrambling for months. The clock is ticking. JD, I know. And you know what they say? Now they're trying to say that they know what they're hey, by the way, you see a guy like this? The same guy was saying the same shit last year about Kevin Patullo. What was the word you were using, bro? Seamless transition? Can't wait. This guy was the same guy last year. I looked it up, and I should post it too. He said seamless transition with Kevin Patullo. I actually have it on my phone. I should probably tweet it out. I asked him, I go, do you think Kevin Patullo, new coordinator, goes seamless transition? Oh, okay. Eagles remind me of the Three Stooges fixing pipes in the house. Because no quarterback can be successful over their career running it. Injuries, defense. Wait a second. The greatest quarterbacks in NFL history don't run the ball themselves. They don't run. They don't run. Montana, Brady, Elway, Marino. Those guys don't run. What do you mean run? As a matter of fact, there's no dual threat quarterback in the top 10 in NFL history. Let's see if there's dual threat. Top 10 quarterbacks in NFL history. I don't know. I'll just pick a list. Top 10 quarterbacks of all time. I'll take this. This was from Fox. Let's see here. Here's the top 10 quarterbacks. Tom Brady, non-dual threat. Joe Montana, non-dual threat. Peyton Manning, non-dual threat. Mahomes, non-dual threat, 4. Elway, non-dual threat, 5. Rodgers, non-dual threat, 6. Bradshaw, non-dual threat, 7. Favre, Non-dual threat, 8. Drew Brees, 9. Come on, Dan Marino, 10. No quarterback can run? Name me a quarterback that has never won a Super Bowl without a supporting cast. Name one. You can't. All right. Eli Manning. Joe Montana. First Super Bowl, there was nobody on that team. Eli Manning, there's no Hall of Famers on that Super Bowl offense. None. Oh, wait. Eli don't play defense. Eli don't play defense. Notice Montana. Oh, team. So now it's team. Oh, it's a team accomplishment. Winning a Super Bowl. Thank you. I know they don't. I never said they run. I'm just saying that the running quarterbacks in the past have always moved to strictly passing later half of their career. Vic, Reed, Steve Young. Steve Young was always a passer. That's not a – take Steve Young out of that conversation. Steve Young, when he left the game, was the most accurate passer in NFL history. Yeah, but he was accurate, Kim. Now it's a team. It's always been a team. Yeah, now it's a team accomplishment. Right. Right, Nad. Now to fit their narrative, now it's a team accomplishment. Yeah. Yo, bro, literally just sent you a text in case you were still out. Okay. So as you play D, my question is, what looks can Vic show Hurts in camp to help him make better reads and work on his timing? Me, I'll tell you what, I'll ask that question to Mark Trestman. Okay? Imagine how many film projectors Bill Walsh would have smashed trying to teach Hurts his scheme. He wouldn't have coached him. Bill Walsh and Jalen Hurts would never have ever worked together. That's not the kind of quarterback he coached. He coached the guys who can process. Montana, Young, Steve DeBerg. Quarterbacks like that. He would never coach Jalen Hurts. Like Kyle Shanahan would never coach Jalen Hurts. It's not a rip. It's a style preference. I mean, Sean McVay is not going to coach a dual threat quarterback. He's going to coach a drop back. Look at the quarterbacks he's had in Los Angeles. Steve Young had 4,300 rushing yards at the end of his career. Yes, he was accurate, but get this, folks. This is what – get this. This is what he's trying to say about Steve Young. He was – let me show you what Steve Young was. Young was a unicorn. He's one of the most gifted players to ever be a runner. Led the NFL in completion percentage. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 straight years. Led the NFL in passing touchdowns 3 straight years. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And in a 7-year span, led the NFL in passing touchdowns 4 times. Had a quarterback rating of 96.8, which when he left the game was all time. Nobody on the planet had a better career when it came to being accurate than Young. Young was more accurate than Montana. And the heyday of Young was between 91 and 93. 415, 537, 407. Then after that, it was 250, 300, 199, 159, shit like that. If you think 150 yards or 300 yards is dual threat, fine. Jalen Hurts runs the ball for 700 yards. So the numbers prove the offense is most effective when Jalen throws more. Prove me wrong. Okay. Easily. In 2023, when you threw the football, you had 15 picks and you had 21 turnovers in 7 games. The following year, when you started out the 04 season, you started out with 6 interceptions and 2 fumbles, 8 turnovers inside of 4 games. I mean, you go back to his numbers. When you increase the passing and you increase the volume, here. Jalen Hurts. It's not that difficult. 2023, highest volume year, 538 passes. You up the volume. Your percentages were lower too, 65-4. Well, that season he had 15 interceptions and he had how many fumbles that season? And he had, let's see, fumbles. And he had 9. So you had 24 turnovers in 15 ball games. 17 games. Then the following year, you started out the season with turnovers. 24 turnovers in 17 ball games. You think that's high? Last 3 seasons, 2023, 2025. Jalen has better overall stats than Darnold. Yeah, because Darnold didn't start and hasn't started but for 2 years. He hasn't started but for 2 years. And let's take a look at this. So Jalen's numbers the last 2 years. Get this, I'll show you something that's even more remarkable. So Hurts in passing the last 3 years. This guy's he didn't start 3 years ago. He didn't start. How about this? The last 2 years, 2903 and 3224. How about the years he has started? That's 61 and how many touchdowns? That's 43. Let's take a look at Sam Darnold the last 2 years that he started. What a loaded thing that was. And easy. He didn't start 3 years ago. Let's see here. Yeah, 3 years ago, he had 297 yards. With the 49ers. So he threw for 43-19, 43-17, 43-19 and 35. Last year, he threw for 4,048. 8. How many 25? This guy's got 60 touchdowns and 8,000 yards, and Hurts has 6,000 yards. Whatever, guy. Completely ridiculous. Hurts' total QBR metric is the most recent full season average is 2025. 55.2, ranking 20th in the league. There's a nuance to everything. You said yourself, Hurts has never had a real OC, but are so quick to judge him running these Mickey Mouse systems. Well, then, dude, if these are Mickey Mouse systems, then your coach blows. Pick one. If these are Mickey Mouse systems, either your coach is stupid or the quarterback is bad and the coach has to put a dumb system around him. Pick one. Pick one. The 2026 season shall be titled the Season of Revelation. If Hurts fails the West Coast again, the truth will reveal itself and the excuses will dry up. Time is ticking. Popcorn ready. Absolutely. Yeah, kind of like your quarterback reading a defense. Just, I'm a Jalen guy, but this other Philly fans too invested in this shit. I'm just glad that he brought us a trophy. Yes. Tim, I got to get to a topic here. Okay. I'm going to make some predictions here in a second. I'm going to get to Jalen Carter here. By the way, I'm going to give my preseason picks for the AFC and NFC teams that I think are going to make the playoffs. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that here in a minute, actually. And 2026, the new Eagles in the 2026, this is all going to be on Nick. So we're going to get to this stuff here in a minute. Look, I got a boatload of topics here we're going to get to here in a minute here. So let's get to somebody else with some let's see what this says. 49ers missed on Trey Lance, gave up 4 first-round picks, turned around and signed Mr. Irrelevant at $60 million. How does Kyle and Lynch still have a job? Because that Mr. Irrelevant took him to a Super Bowl and covered that up. By the way, if I'm not mistaken, I think those guys have a winning record versus you guys. Do they not? The 49ers? I mean, the 49ers are a good football team. And by the way, because Brock Purdy, I'll tell you exactly. Here's what happened too. Jimmy G took him to a Super Bowl. I think you forgot Brock Purdy took him to one too. Or did you forget that? Yeah, and by the way, you don't have to be exceptional at the position to have a guy go to a Super Bowl. If Jalen fails, it won't be easy to get rid of him because of his no trade clause. Where would he want to go? Well, I think that they would accommodate him and try to cut a deal with the team that he wants to go to. Just the same way they did with AJ. And Purdy was the last pick in the draft. I would still take him over Hurts. Hey, Kim, this is why when people go like this, when I say this comment, that they think I'm crazy. Brock Purdy in the last 26 years is the most valued pick in the history of the NFL draft in the last 26 years. He's the last player taken, and he took your team to a Super Bowl. Can you name me a 7th-round quarterback in the last 26 years that took a team to a Super Bowl? Can you? Has there been a quarterback that was drafted in the 7th round in the last 26 years, take a team to a Super Bowl making $750,000? Can you name me one? Well, all the quarterbacks that have been quarterback busts in 26 years. Okay? Think about that. He took a team to a Super Bowl, making $700,000. $700,000. You got quarterbacks making $50 million that can't get to the game. This guy was the best pick for a value pick at that position in the last 26 years. A quarterback, the last player drafted. Last player drafted. Now, well, that's not the last 26 years. I'm talking about since 2000. Name me a player that was drafted. Kurt Warner was drafted. Kurt Warner what year did Kurt Warner come out of college? Was it 95? 93? What year did Kurt Warner? Try to stay with me, guys. No, I'll tell you, Kim. His first year was 98. Like I said, since 2000. Jesus Christ. And Purdy's team was better than Jimmy's. Team, not to mention, they just gave up Sam Darnold, who just won the Super Bowl. Oh, let's focus on the negatives and avoid the positive. Let's address the first down's ability to move the ball and scores averages and yards averages. Seal says, Barkley have another good season in the tank. My concern is he only has one good receiving season with the Giants. He has to make this a priority in camp. It's imperative for Hurts' success. Here, let me get to this. And I'm going to do some bold predictions here. And we're going to do some bold predictions. Let's see something here. I've said Nick and OC suck ass. We needed McDaniel so bad. I am never the one defender Sirianni. He's a Mickey Mouse head coach too. He's been a beneficiary of Howie's insane ability on putting together teams. I completely agree. Swab. I'll tell you what he does do, though. He does do this. Hurts is this, and that's where he's going to remain. I don't believe Nick Sirianni wants to change. He's too smart for that. He knows better. He's been told to change. Can you imagine? You walk into a room and you tell Nick, hey, Nick, you know all the shit you've done, all the winning you've done? Well, we want to do something different. We don't believe any longer we can win this way. We think we have to win from the pocket. You know what Nick does? Because he does what John McMullen says. You know what he says? He's got to play the political game to keep his job. Okay, what do you guys want? You know how you keep your job? You go along. What do you guys want? As long as Nick shows success, they're not getting rid of that guy because he's working with them. Dude, Nick Sirianni's being told, put an offense together that is a passing offense. Okay, guys. And he's putting it together. He's been direct. This is being directed. This is being directed to him. Hey, we want you to kind of integrate some of the shit that you've been doing in the past to keep Hurts in the sandbox, but we need to have him do more. You know what this has become when it comes to Hurts? This has become more of a financial decision than a winning decision. Do you guys not agree? Because if you're really being fair to the guy, you're going to pay him. If you're being fair and you guys want to use all of his resume, this is being fair. Okay? I mean, pay him. I think it's become more of a financial decision. This is like, they're doing this. Hey, look, I'm not paying for 3,200 passing yards and 20 touchdowns. I'm not paying for that. Not the money that Nicole Lynn and all of them want. I'm not paying that. This year's not about a Super Bowl. This year's the year of whether or not to pay Hurts $65 million. This is more about a financial decision. Okay, this is a financial deal. If they win 11 games and Jalen Hurts throws for 3,200 yards, say they get to a divisional round they're not extending him. If Jalen Hurts gets to a Super Bowl with 3,200 yards and 600 rushing yards, they're going to be forced to give it to him, whether he wins the game or not. If Jalen takes that team to an NFC title game, you're going to have one of the toughest decisions ever to make. If that guy lands on 3,200 passing yards, again, which I think he's going to, and 20 touchdowns, but the football team gets to the NFC title game, I don't know how you don't pay him. Wrong. And something that he's accomplished is it's what he's averaging. Wrong. Of course, yeah. I know 5,000 passing yards and all that other shit. Yeah, I'm sure of it. Like he's like, I mean, Seals, great take. Do you believe Howie knows he can't pay Q, Cooper, and Hurts, so he made the changes? It's becoming more apparent now. Do you want to pay Q? Do you want to pay Cooper? And do you want to pay Carter? And do you want to pay Moro Jomo? Or do you want to pay Hurts? What do you want to pay? You move up for Hurts, you can pay all these other guys. This is a financial year. I think this is more about finances than anything else. That's why I think, and by the way, you know what I'm starting to hear from Birds 365 and John McMullen? I'm getting this every show. I don't understand it. Nobody does with a brain. You think if guys like us don't understand it, Nick doesn't know that too? Of course he knows that. He's being directed to do this because they've got to make a financial decision at the end of the year. Is that the guy? Is that the guy I'm going to pay $65 million to? And it's got to look different. Seals, how would that be a tough decision to pay Hurts if he gets to the Super Bowl again? Only two guys did that, Hurts and Mahomes. Okay, well, all the accomplishments that he's done now, why wouldn't they extend him? The agent asked for it. The agent asked for it. Okay? They asked for it at the combines. Think the Eagles, Howie, and Laurie want change. I think upper management are giving the current quarterback head coach on the one last shot. If it doesn't work, they will clean house. New quarterback that they can have consistently for the long run. Hey, that's not that easy to find, dude. Look at the Miami Dolphins. They've been searching for a quarterback since Dan Marino. The Jets have been searching for a quarterback since Joe Namath. That ain't that easy. Not everybody. Do you know one of the craziest statistics in all of pro football right now is? Do you know? Here, I'm going to show you this. Here's one of the craziest statistics in pro football history. Here, let me show you this. Okay. So, he played how many years? 16. How many years did this guy play? Aaron. How many years did this guy play? He played 18 years. And how many years has this guy played? I'll give you one of the greatest statistics of all time. Okay. And he's played 5. So in the last 40 years, 3 quarterbacks in Green Bay have taken 97% of the snaps. In 40 years. That's unheard of. 40 years. 3 quarterbacks. Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers, and Jordan Love have taken 97% of the snaps in Green Bay. You don't see that. 40 years. It's 3 generations of football. 3 generations. Yes, and I agree with this line here. I agree with this. Only 2 Super Bowls. That's under it. It is. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, there's 3 appearances. I think Favre got beat by the Broncos. They beat the Patriots, got beat by the Broncos. Rodgers went, and Rodgers went and won 1. I think there's 3 Super Bowl appearances, 2 wins. But the point is that you don't have consistency at the position in the NFL. It's very seldom do you see a team that has that kind of success at quarterback. Yeah, Sills, it's crazy. I'm about to be 39, and I've only seen 3 quarterbacks play in Green Bay. But the Eagles have a real GM and player personnel. We don't have those poor-ass problems. Howie is not like any other GM. If he wants a top pick to get a quarterback, he will make it happen, not worried. Well, I don't think there's really any quarterbacks coming out of college. Who? Dante Moore? Arch Manning? Who do you see as a guy that you'd go, wow, that's really incredible? As a matter of fact, in the last couple drafts, Jaden Daniels? Who else? Think Bo Nix is exceptional? Drake May's good. You see someone exceptional? Last couple of years, like 3 years. Drake May, okay, he's good. Who else? Who else? In the last 3 years? Caleb Williams? Kind of. I think Caleb Williams is okay. I think he's got exceptional talent, but 55% completion percentage, you ain't going to win a lot of games there, son. You know what he is to me? Caleb Williams is a juiced up Michael Vick. Michael Vick didn't win shit. Michael Vick didn't win anything. None. All RPO quarterback, which is what I always say. That's why they're developing them. Yeah, well, I don't think that you're going to win on a massive basis like that with dual threat guys. Look at the here. Look at the list of the quarterbacks who've won the last 10 Super Bowls. Let's take a look at this. Last 10 Super Bowls. Sam Darnold's not. Hurts is. Hurts. Or was. Mahomes, no. Stafford, no. Brady, no. Mahomes, Brady. Foles, kind of. Isn't that funny? The two dual threat guys are Eagle guys. Hurts and Foles. Because after that, it's Brady, Manning, Brady. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, less 10 Super Bowls. Brady, Manning, Stafford. I think that's wild. So let's say hypothetically Hurts does well this year. Who gets replaced next year between Landon and Lane and Barkley? As a matter of fact, I got to get to these topics here. Arch Manning is horrible. Have you been watching this dude play? I swear some people do not watch college football and watch what actually happens. You got to remember something, though, Kim. I think he had a rough start to the season there at Ohio State and Columbus. He's not a bad team. I'll tell you what, he'll be the first player taken. But I don't know if he's exceptional. Come on, Sills. We don't know about quarterbacks until they have 5 years under their belt, like Love, better than I expected. Okay, well, let's take a look at that. 5 years, really? You think you need to? So when you watch some of these quarterbacks, you need 5 years to determine whether they're good? Huh. Well, that's on the organization then. If you can't figure out if you got a good quarterback or not, you're the Jets. That means you're the Jets. Because the Jets never figure it out. Here, let's take a look at this. Yeah, I mean, Jared Goff took time because you had Jeff Fisher. Drake May looks like somebody. Sam Darnold, Jets. Trevor Lawrence, Jags. As a matter of fact, in Chicago, can you name me a quarterback in the last 50 years that has been all pro? Name me a quarterback that's been all pro in Chicago in the last 70 years. Here, let's see if I could get that number. Last all pro quarterback in Chicago. $1950. Johnny Lujack. 1950 was the last time the Bears had an all-pro quarterback. 1950. I mean, this is why they hired Johnson in Chicago to finally develop a quarterback. The last time the Bears had a first-team all-pro quarterback was 1950. And Sid Luckman, yes. Luckman and Johnny Lujack. Right. That's like leather helmet. That's leather helmet shit. No face mask. You rolled up your helmet and put it in your back pocket. All right. You know what? I should probably wait for some of these predictions because I want to get Zander's thoughts on it. So we'll do that. But here, I'll throw this at you here. What Eagles are you expecting to have comeback years? You think Lane Johnson is going to have a comeback year? I heard Johnny Mack say that he wasn't playing poorly last year. He wasn't. He did miss half the season. And for the record, you can play into your late 30s. Here, defensive linemen shine quicker. Offensive linemen shine later. Why? Learning the offensive line techniques are harder than learning the techniques of a defensive lineman. That's why you see older players in the offensive line. You don't really hit your stride as an offensive lineman until you're 28. And if you can get a guy from 25 up to 28 and he's excelling, that's an exceptional player. But most guys, if you look at really when their peak and their prime is, like Larry Allen or some of these other guys, it's 28 and above. Shit. I mean, who's the one guy that you guys had that you guys got from Buffalo? They're still asking him to play. And he's 42 years old. You can play until you're 40. And that's not uncommon. And in today's NFL, right, Jason Peters still gets asked to play and he's 43. Why? Because he's a great player. Dude, do you know that Jason Peters turns people down now to play? Man, is that a GOAT move? I wish people were doing that for me. At 43 years of age, he's saying, no, I don't want to play anymore. No, thank you for the contract offer, but I don't want to play anymore. Do you know how fucking insane that is? That you're 43 years old and you get to tell people you don't want to play. That's so great. Dude, I mean, he's such a great football. That guy's a first ballot Hall of Famer. Trent Williams is 37, 38. He's still a great player. You don't see defensive linemen. Like, who's the oldest? There's two dudes. The guy in New Orleans, Cam Jordan, and the guy in Pittsburgh. What's that? Hayward. The two dudes, those are the only guys like 35 and over that are still really good. Hey, Cameron Jordan had 11 sacks last year, and he's 37. I think the guy, if I'm not mistaken, he's going to the Hall of Fame, too. Cameron Jordan's going to the Hall of Fame. Let me see here, Cameron Jordan. I don't even know if he's playing this year. He had 10 and a half sacks. He's a defensive tackle. He's an end. He's really an end. This guy's got 132 sacks in his NFL career. This guy's going to Canton. I mean, Sills, that's a pipe dream. Ain't nobody asking you to play. That was hilarious, Sills. Don't be mad. No, dude. Dude, they didn't ask me to play. One team did. What's his name? Galen Hall. He asked me to play. That was it. But I was 28. I was 28 years old then. And Galen was like, hey, I want you to play. I'm like, I beat Tracy Rocker out, though. Guy was the number one overall player taken in the World League draft. Kurt Warner played, too. And I remember he was the number one overall player take. I said, yeah, well, he ain't beating me up. And he did it. Killer, do you read what I write or what these other bozos say? We don't need Jalen to throw for 4K. We need him around 35. Well, that's what he does now, Twiz. That's what he does now. 3,500. The last number is the one that they're not doing. Seals, how deep is the running back class next year? I think the running back classes get lesser and lesser every year, the more you get away from that position. So, what would you think about the Eagles trying to get? Who is this? A safety from Tampa? The guy was Jamel Dean. That's the guy they should have went after. Was Jamel Dean. Kid played at Pitt. I remember him now. Fourth rounder. Okay. 3,200 passing yards without the rushing yards is unacceptable. Well, that's kind of where he is now. All right. So here are the players that I think you got to keep an eye on whether or not Father Time has caught him. Lane Johnson for sure. You know, you could sit here all you want and say this. Well, I think Lane's going to bounce back. Okay. How old is he? Let's see Lane Johnson. And let's see what his availability has been. Okay, last year, counting the playoff game, he missed 8 ball games. Year before that, they sat him one and he missed one. Year before that, they sat him. He didn't miss any. In 23, I don't believe. So really, he's been pretty healthy the last 1, 2, 3, 4. 3 of the last 4 years. And he will be 36 next May. So 35, he's still in there. 35, he could play 2 more years. 1, 2, 3, 4. No, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 Pro Bowls. 2 first-team All-Pros. They started changing that up with the right tackle. I think that's gone away now because they moved the ends around. Yeah, it's pretty good numbers there. But I would say this. Different NFL, guy. Completely different NFL. And you had a historic running back. Historic. Barkley's not historic. Emmitt Smith is a historic running back. And what do you think? Barkley is Emmitt? Or your O-line is not that O-line. That O-line did that for 5 years and won 3 Super Bowls doing it inside of 5 years. Emmitt Smith was a historic back. Like, you're never going to see a guy dominate every level that he ever here. This is what made Emmitt rushing yards in high school. He rushed for 8,804. How many did he rush for in the NFL? $18,355, which is all time. So you're talking 27,000 rushing yards in his college and in his NFL and high school career. And in college, he went for another 4,000 in 3 years. That's 31,000 yards in high school, college, and in the pros. He went for 31,000 yards in 21 years. Yeah, well, I'm not talking about overall talent. I'm talking about what Emmett did. Who's the second most accomplished running back behind Emmett? Jim Brown. I'd go Brown. All right. I'm going to do some of these predictions here with Big Z here. And we're going to go down that lane here. And also, some of the stuff that's now being said about Nick, there's a lot of stories that are starting to get out. And plus, I want to get his thoughts on now coming out down in the combines. Clutch Sports went to the Eagles. I didn't know this for a fact, but Clutch Sports went to the Eagles and asked for a contract extension or reworking of the deal, restructure. And the Eagles said no. What do you take from that? So don't forget, Mark Trestman will join us. One of the great minds in the NFL will join us at 4:30. Without further ado, we bring our boy in, Big Z, Zander Krause. He joins us now. How you doing, bro?
What's up, Big Sills? How you doing, brother?
7 days.
7 days, ready to rumble, man. I'm ready for the season to come back, Sills. Another year of Eagles football. I think it could be a good one. A lot of questions to be answered.
What's your biggest concern?
The offense. Sean Mannion, Jalen Hurts, passing game. Are they putting too many eggs in the basket of the offensive line still? Just what the offense can do. And, the team has been successful, obviously. So I think in many ways in the offseason, we can overstate how big the problems are. But I am of the belief that it's now gotten to a point where they have to evolve it to continue winning at the same level. Now, maybe they don't, because I don't think they've had a world beater offense the last couple of years, and they've still won games at a seriously high level. But I think they've reached the crux point where evolution on the offense is necessary and more production on the offense is necessary. And I think that's what they have to show this year, and that's where the concern would lie for me. But overall, I still think they're a good team, dude. I still think they're going to have a good year.
I think 2026 is a financial year.
Well,
I think that it's going to come down to this. If you get to an NFC championship game and it's 3,200 yards and it's 20 touchdowns, you're still going to have the same question marks on the guy. And I think that right now is one. Now, look, you get to a Super Bowl, Zander, and he has 3,200 yards and 20 touchdowns. You're going to be compelled to pay him. You're going to be compelled. I think more than anything this year, this is a financial year for them, because they've got to determine, do we really want to go forward? Because I think that question should have been answered this offseason.
Well, there's always a financial.
Well, dude, I don't want to go into the offseason here with $20 million of money that's guaranteed to my quarterback and have to go through this malaise of conversation.
Well, yeah, but still, that answers itself this year.
Okay.
Like
so it is a financial year.
Yeah, but almost every year is. I mean, 22 is a financial year too. They went to the Super Bowl, and obviously Jalen got paid.
Money wasn't a financial issue last year.
22, sure it was.
No, it wasn't. He was 22? Getting paid $50 million whether he was there or not.
Sills, that's not true at all.
What are you talking about? He's under contract.
He didn't get paid until after 22. Listen to what I'm saying.
He was coming off a Super Bowl year, and you think last year was a financial year for him?
I didn't once say last year, if you would listen to me.
That's
I said
what
22.
I was saying. I said, well, here, let me make it clear. I said last year was not a financial year for him.
For Jalen, no.
Yeah, no. Right. Okay.
Well, I mean, for the team,
maybe I misheard you. Okay, maybe I misheard you.
For the team, it is. In a way, there's always contracts that are going to be looming. It is for the quarterback this year.
For sure,
all right, that's fine. But, go and answer it. These are questions that get answered by his play. If Jalen plays well, then the answer's there.
Let's play devil's advocate on the other side of this and go like this.
Okay.
All right. Well, wait. Let's go devil's advocate and go like this if you're Nicole. Oh, wait. What else do we have to do to prove our worth? What else do I have to do to prove our worth?
Well, I think showing that he's the, one of the undisputed reasons for the offensive success, like I've said in 22. I mean, I don't think anybody got out of 22 and said, well, they won that year because of Miles Sanders. Jalen Hurts was an MVP candidate that year. So there was no ifs, ands, or buts about what his contribution to the football team was. In 24, there was a debate. In 25, there was a debate. In 26, there can be no debate. If there's a debate, then I don't know that he'll ever get to the threshold of earning $65 million large. And I don't believe Nicole Lynn would take a lesser contract. So now maybe she would, maybe she would. I don't know that, though.
Here's what I would say. Well, name me another era in football in your Eagle history in the Super Bowl era where my quarterback has had somebody in your organization have more success with my guy. Name me another time. You have none. What were you guys before we showed up? I'm talking like a stupid agent here. That's what I'm doing. She's got to remember, she wants the best for her guy.
Yeah, but so tell him to go and play better. You don't give your agent any leverage.
If that was the case, Carter and Hurts would be signed.
Sills, there's a reason there's two guys are not signed.
That's right.
Right.
The Eagles aren't sold on them.
I don't disagree. But I think they weren't. My point about 22 was they weren't sold about Jalen Hurts going into 22 either. They paid him the following year because he answered the bell. Okay. The bell is ringing. He's got to answer it this year.
Okay, and
Carter does too.
So at the end of this year, if they get to the NFC Championship game and he has 3,200 yards, say they get beat, and that's as far as they go, and he has 3,200 yards and 20 touchdowns and 8 picks, you're giving him $65 million?
That's going to be the toughest decision. I mean, I've said before, you almost want to know for sure either way. Like for the Eagles, you'd rather him either play like an MVP or not, because what you just said is the toughest decision to me.
Yeah.
If he plays in the middle,
because you're in the same boat, man, making all these changes, right?
Right. So I think that's the toughest. That would be the toughest decision. But that's where Howie's gonna have to use discernment on what he thinks about building the rest of the roster. Something I think could happen if something like that happens. I don't know that it will, but I'm just throwing it out there. He is still under contract. Could they guarantee the rest of the next year instead of doing a new deal? It's like, all right.
Like they did for Baker.
Because he got $22 million guaranteed in 27. If he does what you just said, do they maybe say
guarantee the other 30?
Guarantee all 55 of it.
Yeah, they could do that. Yes, because get this. That's exactly what they did for Baker this year. Baker wasn't offered a whole bunch of money. What they did was they offered him, and then they gave a couple more incentives to make it so that he could make $42 million this year.
Right.
So, yeah, they could do that. They could do that.
I could see that.
Yeah, because, again, 3,200 yards and 20 touchdowns and 8 picks. You're in the same boat you were before, and nothing's really changed.
Yeah, well, that's true, Sills. I mean, he's got to go and answer the call this year. I really believe that, and I don't think that's asking too much of him. Even a guy like Big Marsh, I know I love you. I know you want the coach to be better, but Nick Sirianni's not responsible for Jalen Hurts earning his contract. Marsh, if that's what your belief is, then, I think that's a bad belief, so Jalen's got to be responsible. He's got to go out there and play, and I hope everybody around him can help him, obviously, because it's a team game and you can't do it alone. But, the one problem I have too with the coaching thing that everybody loves to shit on the coaching last year is it really wasn't like they didn't run that different of an offense than what Kellen Moore ran.
No.
So it's like nobody gives Kellen Moore shit. Nobody. But when the players didn't execute at the same level last year, it's like, all right, all of a sudden Nick Sirianni and Kevin Patullo are worth a bag of Cracker Jacks. It's like, well, where was that when Kellen Moore? But because they were successful, that nobody has a problem with it. Jalen did not have that good of a year in 24. He didn't have a bad year.
No.
He was a great game manager, but he didn't have like this world beater year.
Barkley
Arguably, he had a statistically better
Barkley
year
covered it up. Barkley covered it.
Right. So
Barkley, the defense and the O-line covered it. You know what? I'm going to ask you this here about your guy, Sirianni, and I'm going to give you a little kudos on this.
How has this happened that now Sirianni? I've been dubbed as Sirianni's my guy.
I think he's being directed to change his offense. He's not doing this because he wants to. There's no way, or he would have done it earlier.
Can I just add one more caveat?
Sure.
I think he agrees, though. I think he's finally gotten the permission, which in your way you're framing it to me is still accurate. I think Jeffrey Lurie and Howie Roseman have finally said, yeah, let's do this. Because remember, I'm not of the belief that Nick Sirianni ever wanted to not. Remember, you pointed out all the time. The dude came from Phillip Rivers.
Yeah.
He didn't want to come here and say, okay, we don't throw the ball here, and here. I mean, that's not really what he ever wanted. Hence, also the hiring of Kellen Moore. And even if you believe, it doesn't matter what you believe, whoever's listening, who hired Kellen, whether it was Nick or it was the organization, it doesn't matter because Sileo's point would still be correct. It shows you that whether it's Nick or it's the organization, somebody wanted to evolve the passing game.
But I think to John's point, what makes Nick good is this. Jeffrey, what do you want? I'll order that up for you just now. We'll cook that baby up for you. We'll cook that dish up for you.
You can't undercut yourself either.
Well, you want to keep your job?
There's a way to do it by also acting like you have,
okay.
Have the knowledge and the acumen.
Well, if Doug doesn't want to cook what that guy wants, that's where you get the rub if you start losing.
Well, that's for sure. But, I don't think Nick is like, I'll do whatever you want. I think he's, smarter than that, to be honest with you. But I'm not sure, dude. I mean, look, I also have one other thought because I had John Stolness on this morning as a guest. We've been asking everybody, you've been asking most people about Nick Sirianni in the hot seat this year. And I think it's fair to probably say there's a hot seat there, but I am wondering whether it's where we think it is. Nick Sirianni got a brand new contract last year. When it was time for Jalen Hurts' contract this year, kick that can down the road.
That's a great take.
I'm just saying, I'm always a believer that actions speak louder than
They
words.
gave the money to Nick and not Jalen.
They gave the money to Nick last year. Now, granted, it was coming off a Super Bowl. His contract was coming up to an end, so the timing was different. I understand that. But you're telling me the guy's on the hot seat that they gave the money to, not the guy that they paused on? I don't know. I think it could be on both of them is what I think the real answer is. But I'm just pointing that out there because I do wonder if, this organization loves having a coach who is willing to do what they want. Doug wouldn't do that. They fired him. They didn't care that he won the first Super Bowl in franchise history. They didn't care that there's a statue erected outside the stadium for him. They didn't care.
So would they fire Nick knowing that Nick's contract runs through the 28th season with 2 years remaining after, say 26 goes to shit? Would you pay
I think it'd be
Would you
longer
pay
than that.
$32 million to Nick Sirianni?
I think his
To
contract
sit
is
on the
longer
bench?
than that, dude.
It says I just Googled it. Maybe I'm wrong.
They gave it to him after last year.
I thought it went through the 28 season. It'd be the 29 off season.
It doesn't say how long they gave him.
I thought he signed that contract and it went through. I think it goes.
Remember, he had another year on his deal.
So do you think
which was
they
last
pay him?
year? So technically, this year would be the first year of the extension.
Let's say he's making 15. You're telling me that they would go $45 million to let him sit at home?
I think it's 4 years. He wouldn't. Why would Nick Sirianni off a Super Bowl?
They owe him more money than they owe Hurts right now.
Probably not that, but
20 next year guarantees.
Yeah,
Nick,
so
his contract is fully guaranteed.
Yeah, maybe.
That's a great take. Hey, dude, that matters. You don't want a coach sitting on their ass. Like Cliff Kingsbury for the last 3 years has been sitting on his ass collecting $9 million from the Arizona Cardinals. You don't want that shit, man.
Well, look, I'm not sure whether what I'm saying
is good. Keep that in mind. That's part of it.
It's something to keep in mind. I mean, look, at the end of the day, I don't believe anybody thinks that Jalen played his way into a $65 million extension last year.
Absolutely no way.
So, he didn't do it. He's got to go and do it this year. Or, I think the answers are going to be right there in front of us.
All right.
Good.
I want you to do something here. So 2026, I'm going to pull the Father Time and the tread conversation with you here. What are you drinking, a Budweiser?
No, iced tea.
I'm kidding. All right.
Iced tea.
I got you, man. You drink them fancy drinks. All right. So in 26.
It's an iced tea.
In 26.
What's so fancy about an iced tea? I've been drinking iced tea since I was 5 years old.
I like tea. All right.
You get the Wawa peach teas when I was a kid. I don't drink those anymore. They're too much sugar.
Lane Johnson. Father Time catch him this year? Or do you think he has a great year?
I mean, I think he has a great year when he's on the field. My question is, Father Time wouldn't be about ability. It would more be, is he on the field? He was great when he was on the field last year. It is one of those positions you can play longer. Who's that guy in LA who went Whitworth? Look at Trent Williams. You can play pretty long at that position.
Peters.
Right, Jason Peters. You talked about him today. I mean, they're so I think Lane will be good, but the question there will just be, can he stay healthy? Last year, you remember, Sills, when he went down, that was not supposed to be a season-ending injury.
No.
Not supposed to be a season-ending injury. He was supposed to be 4 weeks.
What was it, a heel?
It was his foot.
Was that Frankie thing that on top of the foot?
Yeah.
Okay. It's kind of like a broken foot.
A Liz Frank.
Yeah, Liz Frank. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Pietas. I used to drink those all the time. Wawa Raspberry. No, but I mean, remember that when that originally happened, Sills, it was supposed to be 4 weeks, 4 to 6 weeks, right? And then it became 8 weeks. Then it became 10 weeks. And then he missed the whole season. So, all the way through the playoffs. And if you remember in like the last 3 weeks and the playoff game, it kept being like, will Lane play? And he never got cleared. So that's kind of what I think happens to you at that age where, a 4 to 6 week injury for Jordan Mailata might be an 8 to 10 week injury for Lane Johnson, and after coming off of that year, maybe the health is the biggest concern there, which I think it is. So we'll see, but I think he'll have a good year if he's on the field, dude, honestly.
You truly believe in your heart Barkley's got stuff left in the tank?
Yeah, hell yeah. I think Barkley has a ton left in the tank.
What happened last year?
Well, I think it was a combination of things. I mean, I think the
Eagle offensive line was ranked 7th. I looked it up.
Yeah, I know they were, and I've been saying that. They were ranked 7th overall, but remember, Barkley did get hit behind the line of scrimmage more than any other back in the league last year.
You know why that was?
Maybe part of that's on him because he's dancing a little much.
Quarterback
didn't run. Offense couldn't pass. Year 2 of trying the same offense. The other thing was AJ was a little bit less of a threat last year where maybe safeties weren't as, respecting of that deep ball. So I think there was a lot of different factors last year for Saquon Barkley, but when it strictly comes to him individually, I think he's got a ton left in the tank, dude. I think he can still be an elite back.
For me though, last year was, how come people can't just say this? Instead of talking about all these crazy injuries that happened where everyone stunk on the offense, couldn't it be that coordinators on the other side of the ball just figured it out? That the quarterback's not going to run. If he does run, he's going to sprint right. He's going to throw to the numbers. He doesn't threaten the middle of the field. We're going to load the box, and we're going to do exactly what I say all the time. Make Hurts beat me in the passing game. Why can't it be that simple? And when the Eagles figured out he can't beat you in the passing game, that's why they got to evolve the passing attack. You're bringing the – Zander, if you had a problem with the offensive line being injured a year ago, you've made no changes. And you're just hoping that these guys are coming back healthy?
Well, I mean, what you are pointing out is that the actions do speak as to where the Eagles' concerns lie. You know.
Well, they didn't really address anything except for in the fourth.
Yeah, remember, they are a little bit limited there contract-wise. Like, what how you gonna –
They are.
I mean, other than Tyler Steen, there's not much you're doing there.
No, there's $230 million.
And remember, they actually did. They modified Landon's deal, and he agreed to get rid of a year. I've never in my life seen that. Yeah, a player just say, "Yeah, take this year back."
He's done.
He's done.
He's done.
So I'm concerned about Landon, and
I think he wants to go out on top.
Maybe he does.
Or maybe what he did was he did this. Let me see how this year goes. If I have a really good bounce back year, I'll sign a new contract extension with them.
Yeah.
You know, something like that.
Another thing. Yeah, I mean that's the thing too. I mean, the other thing that I think that's something to keep an eye on this year, not offensive line related, but more passing game and the new offense related, is not only was AJ a great receiver, but his skill set matched Jalen's from a sense of he wasn't this polished route runner that relied on getting open in space and, you know, a timing route and crisp route. He's a big body, bully type of receiver.
They're
physical player who kind of, you know, embraced one-on-ones and winning the battles and being okay if he was in coverage. He still wanted the football. Now you have a lot of finesse receivers that are great route runners that are going to have split seconds of when they're open and when you can get them the football. Now, I think to Devontae's credit, he's still pretty good in one-on-ones. He's still pretty good in contested catches. He's still pretty good at high-pointing footballs. I think he does that stuff well, but his best skill set is route running. Mekhi Lemon is like 5'9", who's a route runner. His best skill set, we haven't seen it yet in the NFL, I imagine, is going to be making the cornerback turn around, and you got a split second to get him the football in space, and he can get yards. Is that going to work with the style of play that Jalen is? I mean, I'm not sure.
See, you tell me if you think I'm wrong here on this. I think Devontae's skill and his damage that he does is not anywhere in the middle of the field. His stuff is on the sidelines. That's where he does his damage. He's over there on the sidelines, putting those toes in, getting that. He's not really across the middle kind of.
I think that's more Eagle-based.
AJ is the guy that runs that slant. He's the guy that makes that play across the middle of the field. I don't really remember gigantic games, or unless it's Devontae coming back on a football where Hurts throws it up. And I've seen him make a few going down the middle of the field, but I think he's more damaging on the sidelines and on the numbers.
Well, I think that's more the Eagles and Jalen than Devontae, to be honest.
So that's
now, I know college is different, but you know, I did watch the dude have 300 yards in a fucking half of national championship, and most of them came over the middle. You know, there was stuff on the side. I think that's more Eagle than it is Devontae, honestly.
So that'll be something to keep an eye on.
Yeah, I mean, so you say the stat. What is it? 1.7 throws per game over the middle?
Yeah, no, I mean,
is that Devontae's problem?
No, that's the coach going like this. I don't think the quarterback can do it on a consistent basis. That's what that is. And you know what, to Nick's credit? Hey, bitch, I'm 50-18. I mean, he's got the bark back. You know, the other guy for me that I'm going to be looking at this year, you know, I talked about Father Time with Lane. I talked about a little bit of the injury with Barkley. Here's production. Hey, dude, are you happy with Nolan Smith?
I mean, I wouldn't say I'm happy, but I'm also like, he's just a good, not great draft pick.
That can't be at a first-round pick, though, dude.
I know, but dude, you're not going to hit on them all, man. They hit on every other one. I can't get too mad about it. I mean,
Okay.
they also drafted Jalen Carter in the same year. I think there's a bigger question there than there is with Nolan. Nolan's 31st player taken. Not that many 31st players taken, are as good as many of the other people in the first round. It's not to say you don't want to hit on it. It's just to point out that it's later in the first round pick. And health has been a big problem. And when he was healthy, he had a pretty good run in that Super Bowl. So can he stay healthy? I think he's a good 3-down player. I don't think he's a great player, but I also think it's still early. Like, how old is Nolan? I mean, the one thing that I try and always tell myself, especially with defensive linemen, is you got to give them some time. Because to me, it does take a little bit for a defensive lineman, more so than maybe any other position in the game, to acclimate to the physicality of the NFL. Think about Sileo, a college defensive lineman. You were played defensive line. Think about going up against some dudes, versus Penn State, and then you get in and you're facing Lane Johnson and Jordan Mailata and Landon Dickerson. You're like, I need a year here, man. I need some time to acclimate to these dudes.
I'm going to tell you this. In college, I was never blocked. In the NFL, you're always blocked.
Exactly. So, I try and be patient with defensive linemen. What is he going into? Year four, right? Yes. Year 4. So I think he's got to turn the corner this year. If he doesn't turn the corner, I think he'll probably finish out his 5th-year option here and then be gone.
Here are some of my Big Sil's fun, bold predictions. Ready? Going along that line, I think Jalen Hunt beats out Nolan Smith for that other end spot by the end of the year.
Jalen Hunt? I'm gonna say no there.
Okay.
All right. I think Jalen will be a better pass rusher, but I think Nolan is.
Okay. I'll ask you, and then I'll tell you my take. Will Sean Mannion improve the Eagles' passing game?
Yes, considering it was so low.
I'm saying no.
So you think it's going to be what was it? What were they ranked last year?
I think they're going to 23rd. I think they're going to be right around there again.
Were they 23rd?
Yeah.
I thought they were 27th.
No. 23rd.
23rd is kind of where I was thinking they would get to.
Yeah. I think they're going to be the same. And that's going to be kind of an improvement without AJ.
Well, yeah, that's the elephant in the room. Get rid of your best pass catcher, and you got to make a better offense with a first-year coordinator
and a first-year O-line coach, or no, a new O-line coach.
We'll see.
You think Mekhi Lemon becomes the number 2 wideout in 2026 for the Eagles?
Becomes what? One of the top wideouts?
No, Mekhi Lemon becomes the number 2 wideout in Philly.
Well, where are they going to line him up?
I don't know. With that offense and with those guys, I have no idea.
I mean, is he an outside player?
No, he's not.
So he's probably going to be wide receiver 3.
That's what I have him as.
I said when he was drafted, I think he's going to be the 2, but I'm more thinking now, just based on the based on the build out of the roster, it feels like he's a slot. Now, I said he was 5'9" earlier. Someone correct me. He's 5'11". You get my point. He's an undersized wideout in the NFL.
I got Mekhi Lemon. He will be the number 3 slot receiver. Devontae Smith. Over under 1,200 yards.
Over. Has to. Where's the ball going? Think about it. Even last year with the shitty passing offense, AJ had over 1,000, Devontae had over 1,000. So how are you divvying up the 1,000 yards to AJ Brown? I'm going to give 300 of them to Smitty, 200 of them to Goddard, and 500 of them between the rest of them, which is probably a bad expectation because we don't spread the ball around all that much. So I'm thinking it's 1,400 for Devontae Smith.
I got him right at 1,200.
I'm okay with that. I mean,
hey, you're gonna love this one. Hey, listen. I don't know why I'm finding myself glazing this guy more and more and more. I got Cooper DeJean leading the NFL in interceptions this year.
You have what?
Cooper DeJean leading the NFL in interceptions this year. He's the best player on your team, dude. He's in the middle of the field.
That's a tough stat to predict.
But he's in the middle of the field. If C.J. Gardner can lead the NFL in interceptions, you're telling me Cooper DeJean can't? Gardner Johnson led the NFL in interceptions in the Philly defense 2 years ago.
Well, I'm not going to make that prediction, but I'm okay with the prediction.
Lane Johnson will play north of 13 games or under 13 games?
Under.
Whoa, man.
He's 36, dude. I mean, how many games did he play the last 3 seasons?
He's played a lot. He's only missed a few, except for last year.
All right, let me look.
Yeah, he's only missed a few outside of a year ago, dude. I mean, remember, at the end of the year, they've sat him.
Then last year, 15 and 24, 16, 15.
Yeah.
All right. Give me the over then. I like the over. I thought he missed a little more than that in 24 and 23.
I think he's going to play under.
You said what, 13?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll go over.
Okay.
I'll say like 14.
I got a really rough one here.
Oh, gosh.
Barkley will not have 1,000 yards rushing.
Oh, if that happens, then the team's going to win 7 ball games.
No, then the quarterback is going to be compelled to fucking go get his money.
No.
The best thing could ever happen to the
I
Eagles is
disagree.
that guy
No,
fucking gets forced.
Dude, find me a good quarterback in the NFL that succeeds with that bad of a running game.
I didn't say that bad a running game. I was saying something else. Well,
if Saquon Barkley's under $1,000, Miles Sanders went for over $1,000.
Hold on here. If Barkley gets you 900 yards, and Tank gets you fucking 400 yards,
he's not going to get that many carries, Tank.
Well, he will if that guy's getting only 900 yards. Make the quarterback run.
I mean, come on, man. We got to be fair. Like, even Josh Allen had the #1 runner in football. Like, you need a running game in the NFL. I don't give a shit who you are. You need a running game. If Saquon Barkley is 800 yards, whatever the hell you said, this team is fucked, and I don't think I can blame Jalen Hurts for it.
I think people are barking up. We'll see what Barkley does. We'll see what he does. I'm saying this guy's not going to have a.
I got 1,250 on the ground and 300 on the air.
That's not terrible. That's not. Vic's defense. Will it be top 10?
Yeah. Yep. If the offense blows, I think they'll still be top 10. That's how good I think they could be. But, is there a chance that the mental aspect comes into the game for the defense this year? Does it get tiring or does it get defeating to continuously perform at such a high level and never get help from the other side of the ball? I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there of like, if let's say it's week 10, the Eagles are 7-3, the offense still sucks eggs, and the defense is a really good unit. Do they eventually get to a point where maybe they aren't delivering their best games because they're a little bit demoralized by, the other side of the ball? I don't think so. I'm just throwing that out there. Like, that's the only spot I could see them not being great, is if the offense sucks so bad it just becomes – it just becomes
Dude, I think that I think that Vic doesn't have the depth to sustain bad offense. If that fucking thing continues to be 3 and out, 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 I don't care if you have the Texans defense, dude. That shit gets worn out, bad field position. I think, listen, if they can move the sticks and they can improve that they were the 32nd worst football team in the NFL in 3 and outs. Shit, if they can get to 15, Zander, they'll have a top 5 defense.
Oh.
Your defense is going to be dictated on what you do on third down offensively. If it's still 32nd, You're going to be outside the top 10. If they get to 15th, you're going to win ball games with that defense.
I agree. I don't think the offense has to be that great. But remember, the conversation of the contracts does come into play.
$233 million. You got to look at the owner and go, hey, you know what? We only have to be average. What the hell am I paying for?
Yeah, right. Average. Tell me when you go out to a steakhouse and you order $100 steak.
Kobe steak.
And you want it to roll up with average?
Dude, this thing's rough. What is this?
It's human nature. You pay top dollar, you want top dollar. That's literally human nature.
I tell the guy to tell the cook to see the Spurs in the thing. Come on, where are we going here? Here's another one. I got Jahad Campbell making the Pro Bowl.
I love that. That's a big one, but I like that. I think Jahad Campbell's going to have a good year. I'm happy you're on board with him. I mean, it took me a little bit because I was a big Nakobe Dean guy, but I think Jahad Campbell's got all the makings to be a great player. And the other thing, Sills, is he got Vic Fangio. Vic Fangio is the linebacker whisperer, you know? I mean, a dude with that skill set combined with Vic Fangio, sky's the limit.
You know, I'm going to make a comparison to him. And I had a conversation off air with Gary Cobb. And I got to tell you, dude, I think that you're talking about a guy who kind of reminds me of Vaughn Johnson. Vaughn Johnson played in that Dome Patrol. And he was there with Mills and with Ricky Jackson and with Pat Swilling. And he reminds me of that because he's a big body guy, right?
Oh, yeah.
He's a big body guy. So he reminds me of Vaughn Johnson a little bit and how he plays. So yeah. Let me ask a couple more here. Who do you think the Eagles are more hesitant to give a contract extension to, Carter or Hurts?
More hesitant? Probably Carter. He's proven less than Hurts has. But obviously the quarterback's the bigger gamble, and it's the one you have to get right. So, I mean, it's kind of a balanced one, but Jalen Hurts has proven more than Carter has in his career. But Carter probably has the bigger upside. So you're kind of balancing multiple different things there. But I don't know, man. Carter is a rare talent. The kind of guy that you obviously want to build your team around. But the questions there are fair questions.
Yeah, but are they enough not to extend them?
The Eagles think so?
Okay, so he spit.
It's a $6 million a year difference.
Hold on here. He spit, had some shoulder injuries.
He played like shit last year. He didn't just have injuries. Played like shit. I mean, you've consistently pointed out the poor run defense of the Eagles.
He's terrible.
He was worse graded than Moro Jones. He's barely even out there to stop the run.
My problem with him was it looked like he didn't even want to play the run.
Yeah, and also he got literally destroyed. I mean,
that's where you know what my concern is? Getting dragged by a guy who's a nobody.
Yeah. Which happened.
And in that dude, look at the Bears guards.
Well, that wasn't a nobody.
Yeah, well, no,
remember, I think Drew Dahlman was beating him up.
Yeah, they got Dahlman in there.
He was a good center, obviously. So, but he retired now. So
but dude, their run defense was 28th. I mean, their run offense was like 28th.
Yeah, that's right. DeAndre Swift had a big game.
Right.
Oh, was that the Black Friday game? Yeah, I remember that fucking game. That game was like 3:00 in the afternoon. Oh man, there was snow everywhere. DeAndre Swift was running wild. Oh man, that game was brutal. That was a brutal game to cover.
I want you to do me a favor here. We're going to do one last thing here before
we started the post-game show. Sileo had a fucking grin like he was the Joker. When
not true. Not 281 yards rushing, man. Holy shit. Hey, all right, Z, I want you to pull up the standings, NFL standings.
All right.
I got them?
Yeah.
All right. Here's my predictions for teams making the postseason this year. I'm going to start in the AFC.
All right.
I have Denver as the number 1 seed.
Wow. I don't hate that at all. I think Denver has a really good roster. I actually think the roster is underrated, but go ahead.
It is. Number 2, I got Buffalo as the number 2 rated AFC team from the AFC East. Number 3, I have the LA Chargers coming in as a wild card, AFC West. Number 4, winning the Central Division, I have the Bengals winning the Central Division.
Central? What the fuck is a Central Division?
What is
North?
it? AFC North, my bad. Jesus Christ. The old school dumb CT. Number 5, I've got the Houston Texans from the AFC South.
All right. I like the Jags there.
I got the Kansas City Chiefs from the AFC West.
I got the Chargers.
And my last team to make the playoffs, the New England Patriots at number 7. So here they go. The 4 division winners are Denver, Buffalo, Cincinnati, Houston. In ranking order, I got them Denver, Buffalo, the Chargers, Bengals, Houston, Chiefs, Patriots. I have the Ravens not making the playoffs.
So you have 3 teams from the West.
Yes.
I kind of agree with you. Do you have the Patriots in there?
Number 7.
Wow, I think that's about what I would pick. I would pick the Jags over the Texans in the South.
Okay.
Do you have the Jags in the playoffs or no?
Nope. Denver, Buffalo.
I don't know, man. The Jags had a pretty nice little team last year, man. I think they might be pretty good, but I'm okay with that. Texans obviously had an excellent defense.
We'll do this last one, and then we're going to get to our friend Mark Tress.
Yes, good, man.
We'll do those supers, and then we'll get to them, okay? NFC, I've got the division winners. I've got Rams, Cowboys, Lions. I got Carolina. And here's how I would rank them. I put the Rams number 1. You got McVay and Stafford. You're not going wrong there. And plus what you did with McDuffie
McDuffie and Garrett. I mean, that's the team to beat right now in the NFC.
I got the 49ers number 2 out of the NFC West. Kyle Shanahan, Purdy.
You're just going off of records, obviously, because the Niners couldn't get a 2 seed. Okay, go ahead.
Right. And remember something, too. They don't have a first-place schedule because they finished 3rd.
Yep.
I've got the Cowboys winning the NFC East.
I don't see that. I'm surprised you're going there. That's a shoddy defense. You're putting a lot of stock in.
Number 4, I've got the Lions winning the NFC North. I've got Seattle.
I've got the Packers winning the North.
Okay, I got Seattle winning. I got Seattle as a wild card, actually, at number 5.
So 3 teams again from the West.
Yes. I got Carolina number 6, and I got Green Bay number 7.
So you have the Philadelphia Eagles missing the playoffs?
Yeah, 8-9.
Man, that's what I call a Big Sills bold take right there, man. Other than that, I guess your playoff teams are okay to me.
Rams,
who do you have winning the South? The Panthers?
Yes.
Yeah, my dark horse team is the Saints. I think the Saints have a chance to win that South with Kellen Moore. Kind of like what Shuck did a little bit last year. I think that could be a sleeper team this year.
Yeah. I think the Niners are somebody to keep an eye on here. I really do. Let's get to these supers, my friend.
Let's do them after Mark, all right, man?
All right, let's do it after Mark.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, brother.
So,
thank you, man.
I appreciate it, bro. I'll see you in a couple of minutes there. All right. So I got the book here, and I've been let me it's almost like this book should be given to football players prior to getting your playbook so that you could understand your playbook better. Let me give you guys an idea what a playbook is. A Mark Trestman playbook is like this. Okay? And they put this big binder on your desk. And when you open it as a young football player, it's like looking at Portuguese. And you're like, I'm used to one system. What is this? What are you talking about? Skating on glass. What are you talking about? Quarterbacks are extremely coachable. All these things that I would have read prior to reading my playbook. Reading a playbook, there's no understanding of how to read it. So you know what you do? You look to Ed Too Tall Jones, or you look to Leroy Selman and you go, how do you read this? And you really learn, and you're asking how you prepare. This book kind of lays it out for you, how you prepare for an offense, how you build an offense, the things behind the scenes that it takes for quarterbacks. The quarterback Monday through Saturday is the most important days, in my opinion, having read some of this book. The days Monday through Saturday are the most important days that lead into Sunday. If you're not prepared those 6 days and understanding what you're going to see on Sunday, the game is lost. This right here, and by the way, I saw Adam Schefter tweet it out too. We had Coach Trestman on this last weekend here, and I wanted everybody in Philadelphia because Sean Mannion is a first-year play caller, and I thought somebody who's been an architect at building offenses, we get an opportunity. And again, when you do a TV show, you don't really get a lot of time. Here, we're going to get a lot of time with him. Without further ado, truly one of the great minds in all of pro football. By the way, Amy Trask wanted me to send him a note as we get him on here and say that she absolutely loves Mark Trestman. And he joins us now here on the program. Brand new book. It's out. And by the way, it is getting great reviews. You've already got a customer. Our guy who owns the channel, Zander Krause, wants to get this book already. So you got people buying the book. And how's it going so far?
It's been awesome because of people like you, Dan. As I've said this many times. I've done this enough now to know that I sound like a broken record. But this book was a thank you note for what the game gave to me, what I learned from the game, both through adversity and perceptual success, and to the coaches and players who really taught me the game. And it's just a thank you note to all of them. And it's their book, not my book. I've said that many times as well. And I truly mean that if you're an NFL coach, a college coach, a Pop Warner high school coach, a player, a fan, there'll be something in there that you'll be able to grow and understand the game a little bit better. So thank you again for having me on. Thank you.
Of course, always. You know how much I love you. I mean, Coach, tell me this. When you're putting a book together like this, and what was tougher, putting a game plan together or putting the book together?
Oh, the book is, I wouldn't recommend writing a book to anybody, especially this is a football book without diagrams. It's got pictures because the only section that has pictures is because I wanted to do a chapter on the science of throwing the football. And thank God for all the great quarterbacks and the pictures I was able to ascertain to put the book together. I think it really will be helpful to young quarterbacks and young coaches and coaches in the game, just to be able to get a sense for it through words and pictures. But it's really a novel that's a textbook that somebody can sit down and read, and they can go to the, whether fan or player or coach, you can go to the table of contents and there'll be something in there that I think will be highly interesting. But the bottom line is the focal point of this book is no one can understand the game unless they understand it from behind the quarterback. What the quarterback sees, how he prepares, how he plays the game, how he executes, how he protects the football, how he lives for another down. It all starts there. Whatever position you coach in a game, you got to understand the quarterback position. You have to understand that the number one job of every coach and player on the field is to keep them safe during practice and allow them to complete a throwing motion and keep them safe on the field on game day.
You wrote a part of the book in here. I was looking over it. The job of a quarterback at the line of scrimmage. Explain to people what his job is once he gets to the line of scrimmage. And is this, Coach, what separates also the savant quarterbacks versus the middle of the roads quarterbacks, or the guys who don't have what you see when a guy can come to the line of scrimmage. We always talk about Bernie Kosar. Bernie Kosar can dissect the defense within seconds. Some guys, it takes a little bit more time, as Bill Walsh told me. What is the number one job of a quarterback when he gets to the line of scrimmage?
Well, ultimately, the number one job of the quarterback is to protect the football, and however he executes, he has to do that. And if he does, and doesn't turn the ball over, there's about a 60% chance they're going to win the game, and as a result, have a chance to be in the playoffs and win a championship. That's number one. Number two is, it doesn't matter what he does at the line of scrimmage until he's can protect the football. And number two, and really tied for one, is can he throw the ball accurately? So when he's at the line of scrimmage, his job, it all depends on what the coaches are asking him to do. Some coaches ask him in the passing game to start on the left and finish on the right. Some coaches at the line of scrimmage say, take a pre-snap read in the first snap of the football. Let's go to the weakness of the defense because we want to get the ball out of our hand as fast as we can. We can't hold up for number 4 or 5. So there's different ways of coaching the position at the line of scrimmage. Optimally, if coached properly, and again, that's a conundrum because there's a lot of different ways to coach a quarterback properly, and a lot of them are done in the National Football League. But it's a tough answer. The answer is depends. It can be as much as get me into the right play, get the team into the right play that they can best execute the play, or execute his assignment to the direction of the coach.
So this comes from the head coach here, because in Philadelphia, the big conversation is risk averse, coach. There's many things that Jalen doesn't do well, but one of the things that he does exceptional is he protects the football. They believe completely in protecting the football. He's had in 25 passing career throws, 90 passes have gone to the middle of the field. So it's become predictable. They don't throw across the middle of the field. They don't have a screen game. They throw to the numbers. He'll take sacks. He'd rather have a sack than a turnover. And so what they're trying to do in Philly is they're trying to evolve the passing game. But you just said it. You can evolve it if you have a quarterback that knows how to protect it, correct?
That's the starting point. He's got to know how to protect it, and he's got to know how to live for the next down. Those are the two priorities of a
and that
quarterback.
Defines Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, and then to be an accurate passer and not turn the ball over. And then look at Philadelphia's record over the last 3, 4, 5 years. What's the record? Look at the job Nick Sirianni's done. And like all head coaches, he would probably be the first to tell you that, he's got a loyal wife and he's got a great dog, but he's got a quarterback that plays at a highly efficient level. And of course, it's not necessarily in that order. You win because the quarterback's playing at a highly efficient level and is taking care of the football.
Coach, how much do you have to balance this? You want to have balance in your offense. The Eagles have been down in the low 20s when it comes to passing efficiency, but they've been exceptionally high in the run game. I mean, if you go back the last 5 years of Hurts starting, I would say they average probably 24th in passing. They're not really good. And yet you see big numbers from AJ and you see them from Devontae, but as a unit, they're not very proficient in the passing. And the year they won the Super Bowl, they were 29th. This year, they want to try to evolve that. How do you evolve into something that the quarterback hasn't done and he's not been asked to do it? And all of a sudden now you want them to try to do something differently this year than they haven't done in the past, based off of the fact that they're risk averse. How do you elevate that passing game?
Yeah, I think I can start the answer by, and I talk about this in the book. A lot of coaches say they want balance. And when you hear balance, you're thinking, well, we want to be 50-50, 60-40 run to pass to run. But to me, balance is being able to do whatever you want when you want to do it and when you have to do it because the defense is allowing you to do it. Gone games as a coordinator, we've thrown the ball almost every down. Gone other games where we run the ball a lot more than we throw it. So, balance to me is defined as, are we able to do what we want to do with the football when we want to do it? And sometimes you can't. because the defense is just too good. So you have to find other ways to move the football. And that's what balance means, that you've got enough ways to move the football that that can't inhibit you from going down the field and scoring. They want to evolve. They've got a veteran quarterback. As long as there's alignment, and I think, like, I'm not familiar with everything that goes on in Philly. The fans will have to understand that. I know they've got a great general manager in Howie. I know that Nick Sirianni has done an exceptional job. It's all about winning and losing. From a fan perspective, it's a lot more to coaches. Coaches want to evolve a player as a person and a player. And by doing that, by going through a process, you expect to win on the scoreboard, and win and losing ultimately are what coaches are defined at. So if there's an alignment, organizational alignment, they can do whatever they want. And there's a lot of success behind that. There's a lot of experience behind that. There's a lot of history behind that. So, I would think you gotta be buying what's being sold, if that's what's out there, that they're going to try to evolve to a place where, if they're not running the ball well enough, that they can throw it, and feel confident that they can move the football down the field and score.
You got a couple chapters in here also about, building an offense in here too. And I want to ask you about a first-year play caller. The Eagles have that guy in Sean Mannion. What is the biggest challenge you think that Sean Mannion has in facing, the fact that he's only been a coach 18 months? This is really a gigantic deal for him to become an offensive coordinator. What's going to be his biggest challenge, Coach?
Yeah, I mean, this is a big deal, and a real credit organizationally that they feel he can do this job. Because, I can relate a little bit, because I was a coordinator after 3 years in the league as well in Cleveland. So I know what that feels like. I also didn't play the game at the NFL level like Sean has. But the one thing I would tell him that if the task of X and O's becomes more important than the people, then he's going in the wrong direction. The most important thing he can do is build his relationships on a very, very authentic level with the players that he's coaching, not only on the offensive side of the ball, but the defensive side of the ball. To put them in a position where they understand who he is. And he's got that ability because he's been in locker rooms. And then he has to separate himself, that he's not a player anymore, he's a coach. And that being authentic, not being an imposter, there's going to be things that come up he's just not going to know. And if he's vulnerable enough to be honest with the players and with the coaches at things that he's unsure of, I think he's got a lot of chance for success. But I would tell him the X's and O's are going to take care of themselves. It's the relationships that are going to really determine the ultimate success, particularly with the quarterback, but with all the players on the offensive side of the ball and his assistant coaches who, I've been on staffs where I've been the youngest coordinator, and they're going to be looking at him and going, how the heck did he get in that position? It's just human nature. That doesn't mean they won't be all in, try to help him. But his relationship to the offensive line coach is, other than the quarterback, will be the most important relationship. It's the second marriage. The first being the play caller and his quarterback. The second marriage is the quarterback and the coordinator, play caller, and his offensive line coach. They've got to be aligned.
Boy, I think you bring up a very interesting point. I think you bring up one of the most important points of what's going on in Philly here. And all this is defined in this book here, by the way, here. Make sure you guys, we'll talk about where you can get it here in a couple minutes here. But maybe this is one of the reasons, Mark, if you were coming into a new situation as the offensive coordinator, would you want to bring your own O-line coach in to see your vision? Look, they had Jeff Stoutland in the building, and, there's a lot of rumors that went on. However, if you're implementing something new that they haven't done, would you want a guy that basically was in your corner and knew what you were trying to accomplish as your offensive line coach, so you could be in sequence and it would make the transition a lot easier? Would you want that?
That's a fantastic question, and it's a very fair question. In my experience, when I was what I would call a mercenary coordinator, and I don't even know what the staff situation is other than Coach Stoutland has left the staff. I don't know the present staff or who's on it, so you got to bear with me, but I would call it being a mercenary coordinator. If you're coming in and starting all new, it's not an easy position to be in, being the new guy with a new offense where guys have been there in a pre-existing offense. That doesn't make it easy. Secondly, as far as an offensive line coach, it just depends again. But there has to be an alignment of how you're going to protect the quarterback. That has to be clear. And there are certain line coaches that want to protect a certain way and run block a certain way and have strengths. And so as a play caller, for myself, my expertise, running backs, quarterbacks, tight ends, and wide receivers as a play caller. But my number one strength, and I think you have to be as a coordinator, you have to be the protection coordinator. And you have to be able to get in front of your team and show them how your quarterback's going to complete a throwing motion and why we're doing it this way. We're coaching generation Y, WHY. They need to know the why behind why we're doing it. And the alignment starts with Howie, with Nick, with Sean, with the quarterback, and the offensive line coach. There's got to be alignment there, or it can be, and with the new staff, they'll be bumping into each other. There's no doubt about it. It'll be like bumper cars for a while. And if they give it a chance and everybody's all in and, team first, I'm sure they will overcome that. And they got great leadership and they have great tradition there.
Let me ask you something about patience. Obviously, when you're doing something like this and you're installing a new offense, coach, I would think that, you got a lot of people on you. You got a lot of money involved in that side of the football too. Finances play a factor. There's $230 million worth of offense. It's the highest paid offense in pro football. And when you're stumbling along, how do you overcome the fact too that this is going to take time. Yeah. Patience has got to be a virtue in this thing here too, right? When you're installing this, and you got to have blind faith that this thing's going to get across the finish line.
I don't necessarily agree. I think you can have a successful offense in the first year its installation, because I've experienced that on multiple occasions. So I think history says you can, but it's not easy. There has to be an alignment with the people you're working with, and you certainly have to have the quarterback to do it with. And I was really blessed, coordinator Bernie Kosar, Jake Plummer, Steve Young. I just had guys, first year in Chicago, we had, same thing, really, we were able to move the ball successfully. So I think it can be done, but it takes an alignment and an effort. It takes everybody. It's not one person. It takes everybody, and having the quarterback be able to take care of the football.
Coach, explain alignment, what you're talking about, because sometimes I don't think people understand what alignment is and getting people lined up in the right spot.
Yeah. I
think maybe we lost Coach there. Hopefully we get him back here. Let's see if we can hopefully end up getting him back here. Let's see if they just stuck here a little bit here. Yeah, because I see that in the book, alignment, and Coach has that in there, and he talks about that all the time when it comes to putting an offensive game plan together. And he said one of the most important things on installing an offensive line is the alignment. And so I want Coach, we'll bring him back here. Coach, talk about what alignment, and just tell the folks what you're talking about with that.
When I'm talking about alignment, I'm talking about culture. What is the culture of the Philadelphia Eagles? In other words, what are the values that they hold the closest to? And where if somebody goes outside of their values, they can rein them in, because there's clear boundaries to what people can do in and out of the organization. That's what it means. I mean, an example of values would be trust, humility, respect, joy, and love. Those are my values. So when I went into a locker room, and I'm not talking about love as an emotion, I'm talking about love as I got your back, I'll lift you up when you fall down. I used to always say to the team, when you come to the sideline, you'll never meet the enemy. That's love in a football sense. And respect. Nobody's going to disrespect a woman in the organization or somebody who, changes the garbage pails, or it doesn't matter who they are. Everybody from owner to the last person on the roster to the last person in the building at 2:00 in the morning deserve respect. So I think alignment is of culture, of the values of the head coach are the values of the team, basically. And when there can be alignment with Mr. Lurie, with Howie Roseman, and with Nick Sirianni and the coaching staff, there's a better chance of there not being high maintenance issues that are going to distract the team from winning, because the winning edge in football right now is the behavior of the team, because most teams are equally talented. So behavior day in and day out and minimization of high maintenance players and coaches allows the team to focus on the process, which is on the workday, and making sure everybody's aligned in that regard.
Boy, I'll tell you something. You may have hit on right now one of the biggest issues that the Eagles had last year that, many people were talking about how much of an impact on what you just talked about when a player, and listen, AJ Brown wanted his touches. AJ Brown wants the offense. Every wide receiver, I talked to Michael Irvin, you and I talked to the offense. These guys want the ball to go through them and that passing game to go through them. So like Tom Brady was talking the other day about it, it's a lot of energy to talk to those players, because that is really a lot of energy that is taken on a weekly basis that he had to go through when he had Antonio Brown or he had Randy Moss. How much of a distraction is that on a game preparation week when you've got people chirping about this, chirping about that, when you're over here trying to install? And I'm not attacking AJ, but how much of a distraction is that to a football team's success, Coach?
I lost you, Dan. Are you there?
Yeah, I got you now. How much of a distraction do you think that is to a team?
I think it is a distraction. I think teams are really, these players have been around enough to know that these things happen. Jerry Rice, he would be livid for 48 hours, but he would come to practice ready to work. If the game didn't go, his way in terms of catches, everybody wants them. And this is just, the greatest player football's ever seen is Jerry Rice, other than you take the quarterbacks out of it. There's nobody ever been like him. So they all want the ball. I think the way I always approached it, I was very vulnerable with the team. Hey, we got some guys pissed off in this room right now, and here's the ways we can work through this, and just be, you don't want there to be an elephant in the room, because when there's an elephant in the room, there's absence of trust. But if there's vulnerability in the room, there's going to be trust, and you can work through it. A team, if players on a team love each other, they're going to respect the fact that we're not all alike, and people have different wiring but we all love football. We all love to practice. We're going to go out and work. I think AJ Brown was probably like that, and in this world of social media and ways to express yourself, it can get out there. But when we're in the building, we're going to be vulnerable, get it off your chest. But we need you today. And I just think vulnerability-based trust can overcome a lot of high maintenance issues, because you can dissolve it very quickly.
You talk about personal relationships in the book, and I wonder if that's one of the things maybe that gets disconnected, because, Coach, what you're talking about right now with the offense and the way that it was so up and down all season long, there was a lack of trust, it seemed to me, because I've been in those locker rooms, and like you could talk to a guy till he's blue in the face, but if he doesn't buy into it, you're talking to deaf ears here. So again, how much is that? Because you even got a chapter in that. How much is that important? And does that fall on the head coach to soothe those relationships over, or is that on the OC, or is that on the threesome, the quarterback, the OC, and the head coach, to make that dynamic a little bit better and workable?
Well, I think that, one of the ways I'd respond is, it's just not though everybody can lead in a football locker room regardless of their role. And they can do it through their actions primarily, but also through their words. There has to be alignment there. But at the end of the day, there's going to be players want competency. They want a coach who can help them master their craft. That's number one. And that goes to competency-based trust. But you can't lead a team without vulnerability-based trust, without showing them your heart, showing them you love them. I have to believe that goes on with Nick in the Eagle locker room, and it just goes to vulnerability. It's not perfect, which is why it's the greatest game. But the job of a head coach is to show the team every day that everybody in the room really matters, how they're interconnected, how what they do is interrelated to the next guy. I mean, the goal of the head coach is to get each player to want it more for their teammates than they want it for themselves. That's the ultimate goal. Because if you have that, you have peer-to-peer accountability, and you have teams that are playing at a highly competitive and winning edge.
Is there a chapter in the book that defines Mark Trestman and what Mark Trestman's career was as a play caller?
No, the book is not about me. So I don't, there's some stories in there to make a point, but it's not a big story book. It's a book to teach the game. The book can't cover every scenario. And as I say in the book, there's a lot of different ways to coach football. So coaches are going to read that and go, I never thought of that. They're also going to read and go, I can do better than that. I got a better idea. And that's great, because when it's 11 on 11, Dan, as you well know, 11 to the 11th power is a lot of different variables. And that's why football's such a great game, because there's no one play to run a passing concept or a run concept. If we sat in a room together and we put up, double square out with number 2 down the middle, and 2 check downs, we could create 100,000 plays out of various formations where the quarterback drop, read, and progression would be exactly the same.
Coach, did you ever find yourself forcing a football to a primary target and thinking that wasn't in the best interest of the offensive unit in itself? Did you ever get into a position like that? Because sometimes I think the misconception is with fans, well, they've got to get the ball to A.J. Brown. They've got to get the ball because they're paying him $32 million. Now, the old adage, and I've heard Jimmy say this, you pay him, you play him. I mean, so that's the NFL. It's different than college football.
Yeah.
But did you ever find yourself in a situation where you had to get the ball to one guy?
Yeah.
And it was kind of a directive, and it kind of was counterproductive to your success and what you were trying to accomplish?
Only one time, and that's when Mr. DeBartolo came up to the press box the last game of the season and told me all the guys that could get records if we could get him the ball. So that was the only time. But because I never paid attention, but I'm sure there were moments when I was younger that and less experienced, but the real job of a coordinator is to get the ball to the best players. And so I took a lot of pride in finding ways to, whether it was Jerry Rice or Brandon Marshall or Tim Brown or whoever it might be, Steve Smith. It's my job to get him the ball and get him the ball early. And if I can't, I better have a darn good reason why not. And if I can't, and other guys are making plays and we're scoring, that still doesn't take away that I need to get the ball to this guy. But you got to communicate. You got to do it with vulnerability. If you screw up, you got to tell them. If you have a relationships with the guys, they know you're making. It was always easy to cut guys, and it's the hardest thing in the world for a coach to do. But when they know that you love them, they also know the decisions you make are in the best interest of the team. So I always say you want to be fearless, but you don't want to be frivolous with the football or calling plays, because you don't want to expose the team to failure because you want to do something for yourself. So, selflessness and being a good servant is in my opinion, a way to coach the game.
A couple last ones here for you. I get in this debate with people in Philadelphia all the time, and they're always like, well, this coordinator's no good. This coordinator's no good. And I'm like, that's not really true. Coach, do you agree when you're building an offense, you built a boutique offense for Steve Young. Then you turned around and you built another offense for Bernie Kosar. Every offense that you go into, how much is it for you to go, well, I want to install my stuff, but the quarterback may not have the skill set to do that. How much of a conflict is that for you to go, well, I might not be able to do that, but we could do this over here? That's kind of what Sean Mannion's got to go through, because he's been more of a spread West Coast offense. Now he's got a dual threat guy. How do you go from coaching that to going, I got to build an offense for that skill set?
Yeah.
Am I right when I say that?
Well, I would say this is that I think the two biggest curse words in football are my and I. Like, I get the shivers when I hear somebody say it's my offense or I want to do this. That troubles me. To me, when I'm asked about what kind of offense we're going to run, we're going to have an offense that is flexible enough to get the most out of the players that we have. That's the best offense. It's not my offense. It's not we're going to do this and this. To me, is, Howie, you get us the players, and I'll put a system together that can take advantage of their strengths and minimize the exposure of their weaknesses. So, and that's the way I've always thought of it, that it's our job as coaches not to just get great players. It's to develop the players that we have, to allow them to believe they can be better than they already are, and then have a system flexible enough that they're capable of using their skill set to help you move the ball and score touchdowns.
What was it like being a coordinator of Steve Young and Jerry Rice?
I'll tell you a story. And I had Jerry both in San Francisco, and then I had him with Gannon, with the Raiders, and Rich had a wonderful season there. I had been out of football for 3 years, Dan. I don't know if you knew that. And I got a call one day in my office, and it was George Seifert. And Mike Shanahan had just left for Denver to be the head coach. And 2 days later, after being out of football for 3 years, and 2 days after the Super Bowl, which my wife and I attended, who my wife said, wouldn't it be something if you could coach Jerry Rice and Steve Young? Because Steve had thrown 6 touchdown passes. Well, 2 days later, I was the coordinator of the best offense in football previously. And in spring, I installed the offense, and we were walking out of the field onto the first practice field for the first mini camp. And Steve says, Mark, you did a hell of a job installing the plays. Now just step aside. We'll take it from here. I mean, you can't, and Steve, as you can see there, Steve did one of the forwards with Tony Dungy, who was a college roommate of mine. So, I'm just so grateful. I've lived, an incredible journey. I've learned, I've grown because of my failures. I've been able to help others because of my success. And, at the end of the seasons, I never defined my season by record. I defined it by, did I grow, allow people to become, to self-actualize both personally and professionally. And sometimes it's with winning on the scoreboard, and sometimes it's, going out to find another job.
No question about it. Was there any individual that influenced you in style of play calling? Was there anybody, Mark, that you had where you went, man, that's kind of what I want to do here?
Yeah.
Who was that?
It's a great question. And I will say this, I better plug this in for 1 second, brother, or I'm gonna wind up losing you. Hold on, okay?
All right, we got you here. We're adjusting on the fly here. There we go.
They're just on the fly here.
We're audibling. I got it. We're audibling.
Okay, we're good. So that's a great question. I think the best way to answer this, I've learned from everybody. I'll give you, one idea. When I was John Elway, for instance, with Mike Shanahan, I stole their whole empty game. And in 2001, I stole their empty game, and I stole Mike Martz's empty game. And we ran 107 snaps of empty in 2002, and we're incredibly successful doing it. So, you off-season study. The key to stealing plays is not stealing them; it's making them your own once you get them. and being able to make it your own in front of the team and say, guys, this is our play now. Being vulnerable to say, man, I watched Martz, run this with Holt or with Isaac Bruce. Take a look at it. We're going to make this a staple in our offense. And here's how we're going to do it. So I think that the year before you're gonna study everybody and everything, and you're gonna find things that fit your offense where it's flexible enough to take advantage of the players that you have.
I want to ask you a couple more here. Being a former player like yourself, and then being a player like Sean Mannion, who played at the NFL level, do you think that that's an advantage being and moving into being an assistant coach, or do you think it has no bearing on anything when it comes to situational play calling?
I think it has. I can't believe that those experiences will not help him. Both the negative and positive things. It's all part of his growth. And I see it the same with Josh McCown, who I had the privilege of coaching in Chicago, and now is, in Minnesota as a passing game coordinator. And, I watched how, and I think Sean Mannion's probably in the same mold. Like, Josh was not just a teammate with the offensive players. He transcended the entire locker room as a leader, and now he's in a position he's been with, 20 years in the NFL. He's been exposed to all different kinds of coordinators and play callers. And Sean probably in his, 5 or 6 years of playing, I don't know how long he actually played. I know it was around 5 or more, that I'm sure all those experiences are part of his DNA now, and will be part of how he makes decisions over the course of the season. But again, when the task of drawing plays and X's and O's becomes more important than the relationships, that's where you have a chance to lose the people. And I've been on both sides of that, and I know that's the case. When it gets tough, the relationships, the players who know they're heard, they're cared for, they're loved, are going to be really responsive when things are bad, because they know you've put in the work, they know you're competent, and they know that you're doing everything they can to bring out the best in them. But if the plays matter more, first downs matter more, that's where play callers and leaders get into trouble. And I've been on both sides of that.
All right, here. Do you think the game's in a good place now with these young quarterbacks that we see in the NFL? Do you think it's in a great place?
I love the quarterbacks in the NFL right now. I think the most important thing that we can do with these quarterbacks is make sure they understand that their job is to protect the football and to keep themselves safe. Because the stats are clear. It's in the book. Teams that have a starting quarterback play through the year win more than 55% of their games and ultimately get a chance to get to the playoffs. Teams that play a backup quarterback, it's really down there. They don't win. So the job of a quarterback, if he protects the football, the starter, and lives for the next play, tell that to, Jalen Daniels and Jackson Dart and those guys. Because, you were talking about the NFC East. If Jackson Dart stays healthy, that East could turn upside down with John Harbaugh there. They got good players, so, and I'm not suggesting anything. I don't even know what the rosters are in the league. I'm just saying that when quarterbacks stay healthy, teams have a chance to get to the playoffs. When they don't, they never do. Seldom do. We did in Cleveland back in the year where we played Don Strock in a playoff game. He was the fourth guy, but it doesn't happen very often.
So you're telling me, Coach, you play north of 15 ball games. That gives you a 55% chance of making the postseason. Then you add, if you're a risk-averse football team where you don't turn the football over, you increase that. You give yourself a chance that if you're on the field and you don't turn the football over before you even throw a pass, you got a 60% chance of making the playoffs if you are productive.
Well, the quarterback has to take care of the football because he touches it on every play. We know that. Other players can turn the ball over. But if the quarterback doesn't turn it over, it becomes a much higher win percentage. I mean, +1 for a team is in the 60s of winning a game. And when you're 60%, you're going to the playoffs. You see what I'm saying? So if a team can be +1 or better, each week, and a lot of that is going to depend on the quarterback, because if he turns the ball over twice, it's going to be hard to be +1.
So what Doug Peterson did by taking Nick Foles to the Super Bowl and winning it, in your opinion, is one of the craziest things that it's not normal that you see, especially when you're changing out a quarterback like that and them going on and beating somebody like Belichick and Brady in a Super Bowl. That's not common territory.
No, I mean, yeah, but and again, Kurt Warner did it in St. Louis.
Yeah.
Dick Vermeil was crying on television because he lost Trent Green, and the next thing you know, so there's going to be anomalies everywhere all the time in football. I mean, when you look at it, Steve Young didn't start till he was 29.
I know.
Kurt Warner was in a grocery store. Brady was 199. Gannon didn't win the MVP till he was 37. I mean, these journeys of these quarterbacks, Purdy would not have played if there weren't injuries, his first year. So, and this goes on and on. So, and look what
Gary
they
Daniel.
did.
Yeah.
Gary Daniel, so you just never know. But, statistically last year, the starting quarterbacks basically got their teams to the playoffs in most cases.
Wow. Coach, tell folks where they can get the. You know what? Did you like my comment that I wish I had a book like this before I got my playbook, and they handed me the playbook like a Tokyo phone book. I opened it up. I'm like, what? And then I saw offensive playbooks when the Vinny playbook you gave him was like this big. Vinny goes, do you see this here? I go, mine was like half of that. And Vinny showed, I'll never forget, because we were in Tampa together. Obviously, you were with us. And so you get our playbook, and Vinny looks at me and goes, he goes, but what Vinny had the advantage of was that he had you in Miami. So he kind of knew where you were going a little bit. But Coach, if I had a book like this, you really need something to teach you how to read a playbook, let alone understand it. And it's like learning Portuguese. When I first opened my playbook, I'm like, oh my God, this is like learning Portuguese. Holy
well, you're right.
cow.
You're right. I mean, now they just get an iPad, which makes it easier to carry around. But, and I say it in the book, football is a science.
Oh, yeah.
Football's a math problem, but it's also not a science. That's why we love it, because it's both a science and not a science. The trick to the science is to take the complexity of the science and make it simple so these guys can play in the chaos, violence, contact, and emotions of the stadium. So that's why everybody loves. That's why we all love the game. And I think the book will enhance the understanding for fans. Pop Warner, getting started with these kids. I mean, and understanding it from what the quarterback. There's a big section there on how to practice, Dan. I know we're running out of time, but on how to organize a practice, which that's the player's office. That's where you have a chance to get better. And so there's multiple pages on practice and practice tempos. And the number one job of a quarterback of the coaches is to keep their quarterback safe. And their players safe.
I tell people this all the time. They think I'm crazy when I say this. I go, are you good at calculus? Believe it or not, one of the very few things I was good at was calculus. And I go, are you good at calculus? And they go, why? I go, well, the NFL is a game of angles. Everything is angles.
It's geometry.
You do is angles. You rarely do anything head up. You're doing things head up, you're beat. So if you understand angles, football will be a little bit easier for you to understand because, right, Coach, today the game is played in space and it's all about angles on how you play the game.
Yeah, I mean, it's right. It's geometry. It's probably more complicated than geometry, but when you involve 11 players against 11, there's multiple answers to every question, and it's a coach's job to get the simplest one out there so the player can execute, which is hard enough to do on a walkthrough, yet in front of 80,000 people on a Sunday afternoon.
How can folks get this book? By the way, we got people that are already buying the book here. We got it from the weekend show and then from what we're doing here. How can folks get the book? Yeah. By the way, I love that Adam Schefter tweeted that out too. I thought that was fabulous. Everyone's now talking about it. It's getting great reviews, by the way. Tell the folks how they can get it.
Yeah. Dan, first of all, it's a privilege to be with you. I'm so proud of you, as I've told you, and your passion and love for the game. You feel it every time you hear your voice. So thank you for having me on today.
I love you. You know that, Coach.
Yeah. Likewise, that the easiest way would be to go Coach's Choice is set up a website, teachingthegame.com. Teachingthegame.com. If you go there, you can find out more about the book. You can order on Coach's Choice or Amazon, or you can go straight to Amazon and order off Amazon. And I'm hoping to get an ebook out in time. We'll see how that goes, but just trying to touch the lives of players, coaches, and fans, and again, it's that book is just one big 632-page thank you note to all the people I've had the privilege of working with in my long journey.
Coach, I gotta end it with this. So I had Bernie on right after he had his liver transplant, and I don't know if you know this, you might know this. So I was transferring from the University of Maryland. I was either going to go to LSU or OU, and I'll never forget Bernie Kosar goes to my cousin Dave Pizzulli, and he goes to Pizzulli with the Browns. He goes, "Hey," he goes, "Here your guy is looking for a school." He goes, and Pizzulli goes, "Oh my God, can you call Miami?" And sure enough, he's like, because I wasn't sure about these other places. And Dave goes, "Yeah, absolutely. You got to have them call him." So Bernie calls up Jimmy Johnson. He calls up Butch Davis and calls up Dave Wannstedt. Sure enough, I get a call the next day. And fast forward, I become the 56th player taken out of Miami to go to the Buccaneers. And I'm drafted out of Miami. And I tell Bernie to this day, I wouldn't be a Miami Hurricane if it wasn't for Bernie Kosar. And Bernie knows that. I would not have been a Miami Hurricane, which is one of the greatest things in my life, outside of my family being born or my daughter being born in my family. It's the greatest thing that's ever happened to me, being a Miami Hurricane. It was because of Bernie.
Well, you and I are sitting here today talking because of Bernie Kosar. I mean, if Bernie was the first quarterback I coached, the blessing happened very fast for me. His success led me to a championship, to the NFL, and to this moment, Dan. That's how it works. It's all interconnected. There's a string attached to all of us, and here we are sharing our love for football in the last 40 minutes. It's just been awesome.
Thank you so much, Coach. You know how much I love you and respect you, and I'm so proud that we're friends, and we're lifelong friends. And anything you need from us, we're there for you all the time, and it's always a privilege to talk football with you. You're one of the best minds in pro football. You're one of the best minds. You're one of the best people I ever talked with when it comes to football and understanding the game. Thank you so much, and I love you very much. Thank you, Coach.
Same here, Dan. All the best. Have a great season.
You got it. That is Mark Trestman. You bet. We go back a long ways, man. And boy, I'll tell you what, you talk about one of the great minds. You talk about one of the great people. You talk about a guy who really cares about the sport, loves the sport. There's nobody who loves the game more here. Fast 40 minutes, wasn't that? And by the way, I thought he said something really entertaining with the fact that what Sean Mannion's going to have to face this year. This is not an easy task. You got a brand new offensive line coach. You got a brand new coordinator with veteran players. I mean, that without a doubt is going to be a challenging task. So we're going to bring Zander back in here. We're going to get to some of these supers. I want to get Z's thoughts here too on Coach Trestman. By the way, John McMullen loves Mark Trestman, and he speaks highly of him. So when we get Big Z back in here again, I mean, I love Trestman interviews. Might be my love for the CFL. Yeah, he won a couple championships up there. He won a couple championships up there in Canada. By the way, I played in Canada too. CFL. Trestman seems very nice and knowledgeable. Let's see this here. Let's go here. Thank you. Appreciate that. Absolutely. There's no doubt, like I said, rebuilding that offense and the things that they're going to have to try to do this year are going to be remarkable. All right, going to pay some bills. Our great friends at Morgan & Morgan, the number one injury law firm in all of America for a reason. with over $30 billion recovered. This is what makes Morgan & Morgan the number one injury law firm. I tell you about the family in Pennsylvania that was initially offered $650K. He got nearly $30 million in settlement. Or the family in Florida that was initially offered $350,000. They ended up getting nearly $12 million. Go to forthepeople.com/big sales or pound law 529. That's forthepeople.com/big sales or pound law 529. And do me a favor, you tell them Big Sales sent you.
There's a reason the Karate Master was the number one salesman in the lumber department.
Karate.
Just like there's a reason Morgan & Morgan is America's largest injury law firm. Injured? With over $25 billion recovered for our clients, there's a reason to go big. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm.
Ignite your nights with free live entertainment daily, only at Live Casino and Hotel Philadelphia's Center Bar. 7 days a week, enjoy some of the region's top party bands, performers, and DJs as they take the stage in the heart of the casino action. Great cocktails, live music, and lively moments. It's all happening at Center Bar at Live Casino and Hotel Philadelphia. Visit livecasinophilly.com for more details and the complete list of upcoming events. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
This is Eric. When he got injured in a car accident, he called Morgan & Morgan. He not only gets a lawyer, he gets trial lawyers like Sam and Jessica who are in it to win it. He gets his own investigators with briefcases, leather ones. And if you ever have questions, our customer service folks keep things rolling. Injured? We're your army. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm.
Welcome to the Jet Setters and the High Rollers, to the Shot Takers and the Tastemakers. Welcome to the Viewfinders, the Thrill Seekers, and the Night Owls. Welcome to everything you could possibly want on one 5-mile island. Welcome to the Wildwoods. Book your stay today.
In our hometown, we all look out for each other. We go the extra mile to lend a helping hand. We step up to keep our communities going strong. And at Independence Blue Cross, we're here to keep you going strong. We've been deeply rooted in our communities for more than 85 years. And that connection to members has earned us our spot as the #1 health insurer in the region. So while you look out for your neighbors, know IBX is always looking out for you.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on Sports Grid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on Sports Grid.
EAGLES. Eagles.
That was educational. That was educational, man. That really was. That was good. Kind of gave you an understanding of what is ahead for Sean Mannion. Hit the like button. Appreciate it. When we get Big Z in here, we will do our super chats in here too. By the way, please hit the like button. We're 7 days out from the start of training camp here. Let me see here. Let's go back here and oh, by the way, I think he really did think that A.J. Brown was a massive distraction on the football team a year ago. He says you can't have that in your locker room. How much really was A.J. Brown really a massive factor when it came to the destruction of the offense a year ago? Hey, by the way, maybe it's one of the reasons that all of the players on offense play poorly. I'm so glad we don't got A.J. Brown in the media asking for targets. Jalen Hurts is going to play so free this coming year. Let's see if we can go back. We'll get these supers here. Yeah, I mean, listen, I thought Mark saying that, I thought him making those comments. I traded Barkley in my dynasty league, so I agree. Yeah, I'm not there. And you think, Sills, you said DeJean was just some kid from Iowa. That is on video, and I did say that. Nick better not ever disrespect Howie's hard work and poke his chest out like that. You thought AJ was going to smoke him. Bob Lang would have had a field day with Chat GPT, just the beginning. That Chat GPT thing. Yeah, I'm with you, man. Big Marsh. Why can't it be other coordinators? No, Nick is a stiff and not smart enough to dial up something different. All right, let's go down here. What's this one here? Seals, you could be an arrogant asshole, but we love and respect you, my friend. Glad you're with us and not covering another team. And Jerome would be proud. Yeah, I believe so too. I think he'd give me a ton of shit. He'd give me a ton of shit, believe me, for how I give you guys a ton of shit. Hey, I think so, Rasputin. AJ was the one fucking the game plan up every week. The opposing defenses knew we were trying to get him the targets. When we did get it to him, he would slow down on routes and alligator arm them. It's kind of what Mark Trestman said. Stoutland fighting with Sirianni was a bigger factor. Yeah. I'm starting to believe that. After listening to Coach Trestman, I think you had Jeff Stoutland and maybe A.J. Brown fighting Kevin Petullo and Nick. I know what you're going to say, Marsh. A.J. Brown, Kevin Petullo versus Nick and KP. I get it. But when you have infighting like that, I think there was more infighting than what people, and in the coaching staff. That's why the players didn't know. There was fighting within the coaching staff. Sills, one problem with the Cowboys, can they consistently win games? I've seen them win one good game and then lose to the shitty Cardinals. Yeah, they'll beat the Eagles and then turn around and lose to the Cardinals. That's the difference between the Eagles. The Eagles will lose a game to the Cowboys and turn around and beat the Bills. That is one of the differences, yes. Do they always hire stiffs at coordinators so they always have an scapegoat if the season gets derailed? I wrote that down as one of my topics today, too. The new scapegoat is now Nick. Okay? The new scapegoat's Nick. Because there's no other choices. Thanks, Cam. You were great today. Jalen should have told AJ to shut the fuck up. He's supposed to be the leader. Okay? Fair enough? NFL is dying? What planet are you on? Let me guess. You like watching that stiff World Cup. NFL is dying. You mean like the ratings? Ratings are through the roof. CP is going to bring all those Philly secrets over to Dallas. Keep sleeping on our moves this offseason. Christian Parker's going to be interesting to keep an eye on. He's going to be interesting to keep an eye on. I'll be one of the things I'm watching with the Cowboys. Sills, the same people saying not to compare Darnold to Hurts because of resume are the same idiots that try to put Hurts in the same class as Montana, Brady, and Mahomes. You can't make this shit up. I know. Well, they think Hurts belongs in the Montana, Brady, Mahomes category or Dan Marino. Here, I'll put this here without even Super Bowls. Dan Fouts, Marino. Who else? Warren Moon. Fouts, Marino, and Warren Moon. Dude, don't ever put Jalen Hurts in those guys' conversations. Like, don't. Those guys were savants at throwing the ball. Those guys were different. Dan Fouts, Dan Marino, Warren Moon. Those guys were different people, dude. Christian Parker and Sean Mannion is in the same boat, just on the other side of the ball. Interesting enough, both coaches will have pretty good group on the opposite side. Let's see what they can do. I agree with you. I think Christian Parker's got lesser talent, though, than Sean Mannion. Sean Mannion has more talent. I mean, I think Dallas's talent on defense is getting better. I do. But so if the Eagles are now having to decide on Hurts, does Dallas have the same issue with Dak now as well? Dak's 10 years in. Dallas has got to get better situationally play calling on offense. They got to get a better run game. And they've got to play better defense. I think, look, I'm going to hang with Dak 2 more years, this year and next year, before I make a decision on moving off of him. Dak keeps you around the rim. He keeps you around the rim the way he throws the ball. Dude, Prescott is one of the best passers in the game. Seals, will Mannion have the possibility to succeed even though he hasn't called plays because of Vic and the defense and the talent on the offense? Yeah, I know where you're going with that. You know, you're sharpening, you know, and if you're an offensive coordinator, you got Vic to see every day in practice. I do think that helps. I do. Chat GPT. How should I change my facial hair this year to express that I've grown? That's another one for me. Here, let me ask a question here about Nick. I'm going to ask another question about Nick here. Hold on. Here, I got another one here. Hold on. Is Mark Trestman considered one of the best offensive coordinators? Get this. Here's what they said about Trestman. Trestman is generally viewed as an excellent quarterback tutor and offensive strategist. While he has brilliant highs, the 49ers had the number 1 ranked passing offense in 1995, 96, and 97. He helped Rich Gannon get to the MVP award in 2002. The 1995 as the offensive coordinator of the Raiders, the NFL led in scoring, passing, setting a franchise record with 505 yards. He helped guide the Raiders to the Super Bowl with Rich Gannon as MVP. Trestman is highly respected as an offensive mind and one of the five best coordinators in the history of the San Francisco 49ers. Here they are. Number 5, Dick Stanfel. 4, Marty Morningwig. Number 3, Mark Trestman. Number 2, Mike Shanahan. And number 1, Mike Holmgren. So in 49er history, Mark Trestman was the third best offensive coordinator in San Francisco 49er history. It's pretty impressive. Seals, with camp a week out, it will be interesting to see who gives in first, Rosenhaus or Howie, regarding Carter. I thought, hey, wait a minute. I thought everybody said he was getting his contract before the start of training camp. Isn't that what you guys said? That Jalen Carter was getting a contract before the start of training camp? Where is it? It just proves Pro Bowl's a joke, but it's still an honor for players and helps their salaries. All right. So we're going to bring back Big Z in here, and we'll read those supers with him and get his takeaways as well, because we got a couple of them to do. Also want to get his thoughts on what he said. I thought Mark Trestman said some interesting things. He thinks A.J. Brown was a distraction. He thinks if you don't have everybody on the same page inside your locker room, you got a problem. He also said that he thinks Sean Mannion, that thing's going to be is tougher than you think. When you've got a first-year guy coming in the building, that is not going to be easy, and it wouldn't shock him if they have a couple bumps and bruises. Let's bring back Big Z here. Get Zander back in here.
What up, Sills?
What'd you make of that interview with Trestman?
Freaking great, man. That guy knows his stuff, doesn't he?
Yeah,
he
we're
knows
going
it all
to get him.
for sure. Yeah, it was a great interview, though.
We're going to get him on during the season because I wanted him to get his thoughts. I already told him I want him to watch the Eagles this year. I want to get his thoughts on Sean Mannion. What do you make of the fact that he thinks that you can't have somebody like AJ in your locker room doing this?
I mean, that's obviously substantial coming from a guy like that who's been a coach.
It changed my opinion.
I mean, it's obviously a big it detracts from the team. So maybe they were right to get rid of him. That doesn't answer for the skill loss that they had, but maybe the whole addition by subtraction theory, is viable until proven otherwise.
How about the fact that he said also that I like the idea of the new coordinator having his own O-line coach?
Well, because I think you want to be able to create an environment for success for somebody, and sometimes when you chop somebody off of the legs, just to boost up somewhere else, maybe that does more harm than good. I thought that was a good point by him,
You think there was more chirping between Nick and Jeff than we know, that behind the scenes there could have been a lot more pushback that, because, boy, I'll tell you something, man. The way that thing ended and the way Jeff sounded, I think the Eagles took the high road, right? Nick took the high road. The Eagles put out all those nice statements about Stoutland. Stoutland didn't want anything to do with that. You think there was more animosity than what was been reported behind the scenes?
Maybe. But I think it was actually pretty simple.
I'm with you. Listen, I'm with you on this.
Yeah, I think Nick wanted to change and Jeff didn't want to.
I don't care what you think of Nick. It's Nick's ship. It's Nick's boat.
Yeah, right.
If he wants to drive it into the iceberg, you're on with him or you're not.
I agree. All right, you want to do these
let's do it.
Here is Riot. What's up, Riot? Sills and Big Z, do the past 2 Super Bowl winners prove that the old school way of football is back? Play defense, O-line, and have a good run game. Between us and Seattle, we've seen we don't need stellar quarterback play to win the game. I think, Riot, I think 100%.
I don't think that's ever changed.
I don't either. I think there's been instances, obviously, where a great quarterback has been able to take you over the top, but I think it's a great point, though. I do think maybe it's going to become more prominent because of these two winners. You know, Brady might have clouded some people. Mahomes might have clouded some people.
But here's the thing, the difference, though, Z. What do you think is more expensive, building a roster or paying an elite quarterback?
Well, it depends. What's the owner want? Not all owners want to win. You know, John points that out all the time.
Okay, like I said, so Cincinnati pays the quarterback, but they don't pay anyone else. They pay two wide receivers and a quarterback, and outside of that, they don't pay anyone else.
Yeah, because I don't think Cincinnati's really.
I don't think Cincinnati wants to win either. I get it. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah. Right, good point. Here's JD3. Why are the Jalenites so worried? If he throws for 4K and has 30 touchdowns, he gets extended. Seems they aren't confident that he's capable of those numbers. I think that's fair. I mean, I don't think it boils down to only numbers, but I think those are a pretty good parameter.
How about this, though, dude? What if he throws for 4,500 yards and 30 touchdowns and they do go 8-9? And you see the offense, and you see the offense growing. What do you think they do that?
I can buy that, but I don't think that would ever happen.
How about this, though? You take one step back for 3 steps forward?
Yeah, but that's of all scenarios, that one you just said is
what New Orleans, New England did.
Yeah, but still, that's unlikely, dude. 4,500 yards and 30 touchdowns? Come on.
Well,
there's Marsh. What?
I saw Dak do something like that and have a losing season.
Oh, yeah, but Jalen's not a volume passer like that.
Okay.
Marshall says, why can't it be other coordinators know Nick is a stiff and not smart enough to dial up something different?
This is for you, dude, because he's got you as a Nickite now.
He's got NDS. It's called Nick derangement syndrome. Marsh, you're not even making sense anymore. You know, it's one thing to have a problem with the way Nick handles some things, which I think is perfectly valid, to maybe dislike some of the immaturity, to maybe call out some of the, inability to provide answers to the team. Marsh, why don't you come back to planet Earth? Because you sound fucking stupid now, Marsh. I mean, really. Look, here he goes. More. Nick better not ever disrespect Howie's hard work and poke his chest out like that. You thought AJ was going to smoke him. Bob Lang would have a field day. ChatGPT is just the beginning.
Yeah.
All right, at least you're funny about it that time. I mean, holy crap.
All right.
All right, I think we got them all.
All right. What do you make? What did John say about the ChatGPT?
I don't know. We tried to add context to it.
There's no context to it. Here's context. How do I talk to my team today?
Sills, I will say this. It's pretty impressive, the shit. Like, the technology is basically like it's basically like having an analytics department at your disposal. That's not to say you want to do everything with it, but it can be a tool for sure.
I would use it.
Yeah. I don't know how Nick's using it, but I think it can be a tool.
Yeah, but wait. You know what I would do? I would ask this. I mean, I would put my game plan together and I would ask, a couple things. What do you think of situationally here and see what it says? I'm not saying I would completely go again. I would go with exactly what the thing said, but I think AI is stronger than what people think. You know what?
Oh, for sure. I use it all the time. I have it open on my computer as we speak.
So wait a minute. Pretty soon, do you think they would evolve into this? Quarterback has it in his ear, and the quarterback goes, what should I do on 3rd and 11?
Maybe one day.
And ChatGPT goes, you should throw a fucking hook pass to the fucking swing right thing. And you think that ends up evolving into something like that?
It could, certainly. I mean,
it gives you the answer right away, doesn't it?
Well, yeah, and you can, like I said to you yesterday, you can train it. Like I've given AI every JAKIB show, in the last 3 years, and it knows all the shit that we talk about, all the differences between the host and things like that.
Wow.
Yeah, so you can train it a lot, but it depends. It depends how much somebody wants to use it. I think in the same breath, though, there's a pendulum, and you don't want to go too far from a sense of taking away the human element of the game. I mean, you heard you can make an argument that we could be replaced. I mean, you heard the thing talk about sports yesterday, but I think people will still always gravitate to it. We're human beings. We're human beings. Human beings are naturally community-based creatures. You know, that's why we have family. That's why we have friends. That's why we hang out in our neighborhood. That's why, you know what I mean? So I feel like people, even if they can get a better answer from AI, they'll still want to listen to me and you go back and forth. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe we'll be obsolete in a
There's
couple years. Who
nobody.
knows? I'll have to pivot, my friend.
There's
I'll figure it
nobody that could ever give you the same shit that Big Sills gives you. I can tell you this, because here's one of my favorite, before you go, Z, here's one of my favorite comments here. Right here, a guy like this right here. You see this? No, this is not the guy. Wait, we just had one here. He said that, Sills, you're my guy. Let's see here. Hold on. One more here. Hold on. Okay,
Sills,
here it is.
Sills, you can be an arrogant asshole, but we love and respect you, my friend.
That's what I'm talking about. That's my
you can
favorite.
Say that to AI too. You could probably say that to AI too. You know, you could train it to be a jerk off.
Well, you asked the question, Sileo. Yeah. Big Z, great stuff as always. Tomorrow will be 6 days.
Can't
we
wait, brother.
Clock, dude.
Can't freaking wait. All right, Sills, I'll catch you, man.
Got you, bro. Appreciate you, man. More than you know. Got you. Let's go to Philadelphia here. Sills, be like the Bengals are number 5 in passing rankings. They are better offense than the Eagles. They are better offense than the Eagles. They're a better offense than you. Yes, the Cowboys offense is better than you. But they're not, if you watch the games, the Bengals are playing catch up because their defense sucks. It's a team sport. Dude, you do not understand team sport. Your offense can be spectacular, but your defense is awful. And if you're on the field and the only reason you're in games is because of your offense, their game and they had a better running back, they had 2 better receivers than you, and they had a better quarterback than you last year. What are you not understanding? They didn't have a better team than you a year ago, the Dallas Cowboys or the Bengals. What are you not getting? Jesus criminy. Dude, right. This guy reeks of ignorance. Eagles can't even get a completion in the entire half twice. Who the fuck wants to waste time watching bullshit, dude? Dude, that guy will tell you and swear to you the things that they're doing in this offseason are nothing of a big deal or a big consequence. Or that we have a better offense than the Cowboys. How are you a better offense? Guys, ignorance, man, is ridiculous. Hey, he was a stiff. I don't even want people to lose their money, but Eagles pay cash. Bengals don't. Yeah, they don't. They don't. What quarterbacks lead the league in garbage time yards every year? Garbage time yards. Most of the time, there's teams in this league. Are you not understanding, James? Organizations build rosters. Great GMs build teams. There's not a lot of great GMs. How many great GMs do you think? There's like 6. There's like 6 GMs that are worth the shit. Here are the top GMs. Howie, Schneider, Les Snead, Veach, Nick Caserio, and Eric DeCosta. And I would say Brian Gutekunst. Put John Lynch in there. It's 8 guys. There's like 8 teams with really great GMs. I mean, you're making it sound like there's a shitload of general managers that know how to build a football team. It's ridiculous. Well, he's got a winning record versus you. Dressman brought up the quarterbacks having to be in alignment with their coach as one of the first points. Was it the main point of Hurts' article earlier this summer about Hurts resisting change? Yes. It's a great take, Rasputin. Shanahan bails him out. Shanahan needs to bail himself out. I guess being down 21-0 is garbage time for you Eagle fans. That's a good one. They came back in that second half and rolled you. It's pretty true. Here. So just because a team can throw more garbage yards with a 7-10 record doesn't mean there's a better. It does mean that. Dude, you don't have a better quarterback than Cincinnati. You don't have a better wide receiver on your team than Jamar Chase. Your number 2 is not better than T. Higgins. You have a better O-line. You have a better back. And you have a better defense. At the end of the day, dude, yes, you're wrong. The Cowboys are superior to the Eagles in skilled players. Quarterback, both receivers, and running back had a better year than Saquon last year. Their tight end is better than Goddard. Their 2 guards are better than your 2 guards. Your tackles are better. This is true. This right here is true. It's another great asset of Hurts's. Is his durability. Absolutely true. Yes, I agree. I think the Broncos have the most complete roster with their defense, their O-line, and everyone else. Get this. Dude. No, it does not. What the fuck are you talking about? Any quarterback could throw. So wait a minute. Philadelphia, do you think you have a better offense than the Dallas Cowboys? Philadelphia, if you have such a great offense, Cowboys ain't changing shit. You really believe you have a better offense than the Cowboys? You have better wide receivers, a better back, a better passing quarterback. Do you really believe that? Because based on your answer is going to dictate how many times I continue to go to you. Do you really believe you have a better passing offense and a better overall offense than the Cowboys? Yes, I do. Overall run game is better. It's not true. You were not a better running team than the Cowboys last year. You were not. Where are you getting that from? The Cowboys were number 2 in total offense. They were number 2 in passing. The Cowboys were 9th in rushing. Eagles were 18th. Where are you getting that? The Eagles we're 9th. We're 18th in rushing. There's not one metric you were better than them. They were better than you in total, passing, rushing, by substantial. They were better than you in scoring offense. The Cowboys were 12th in third down. You were 26th. Where are you better? What the fuck are you talking about? I'm talking this year, Barkley's better running back. So you're assuming that. This guy's talking about shit that hasn't happened. I'm telling you about what the Cowboys did coming off of the year with the same players. Dude, that's embarrassing. They should have sat Dickerson and let someone else get snaps. That guy is just got an illness. Still, 2 times 2 equals 9. Yeah. Our offense blew last year. We never put a full game together and led the world in 3 and outs. Dude, you keep going on Google's. Bro, guys, when a person puts a game plan together, listen to what he doesn't know about. Him and M. Reyes are the dumbest people on the planet. Dude, you keep going to Google Stats as if Google Stats is going to tell you this. Why, your guy's going to Chat GPT. And for the record, let me ask you guys something. How about this? So, if the last 3 football games, my team is running at 142 yards a game on 28 carries. Is that not a trend on what you do? Your trend is you're running the ball. Am I right? That's a trend. You build your football team's game plan on trends. I don't really think you know how football teams build a game plan. Man. They're not the dumbest hills. You need to watch the Darwin Awards. For my eye test, the Eagles are better offense. Hey, dude, now I know why you think that Jalen Hurts is better than Patrick Mahomes. Because he had 2 better games than him in the Super Bowl. And so he's better than Mahomes. The head coach's only job is to give motivational speeches, and he can't even do the one task on his own. Nick GBT. Are you kidding? You should buy season tickets, man. It's going to be a great show. Read the whole thing. That's why you don't learn nothing, Sills. Really. I don't know anything. I'm okay. I just had one of the best minds in football tell you what we know. Philadelphia, you thinking I don't know football? Or Dick Reyes, that's not a problem. As a matter of fact, It validates. Let's see what Dick Reyes says. Y'all are ready for me to shit on y'all for Nick GPT. I swear to God, that will end you if it works out. Nick GPT. He needs all the help he can get. Nick GPT. Oh, I got to tweet that out. Hold on. Hey, you know what? We were the ones that started. JAKIB was the ones that started Jalenites. We're going to do this. Eagles' new offensive coordinators. Eagles' new OC. Nick GPT. Nick Chat GPT. Let's F and G. Let's F and G. I got to put a smiley face to that. Yeah. Hold on here. Hold on here. Eagles' new OC. Nick Chat GPT. There you go. That's it right there, baby. That's Reyes' new boy. Eagles' new OC. Nick Chat GPT. Oh, man. Let's see here. Nick is trying to sound smart and get Julian to think he's smart and hip to the new computer. You missed the point. Bro, the Cowboys have a better offense than you. What's that? Playoffs are a team accomplishment. Are you under the impression that, wait a minute. Hey, Philadelphia, are you under the impression that there's not better offensive units than you? This guy doesn't know what he's, bro, I'm losing brain cells, clicking your name. It'll be a while before I go back there. My head hurts talking to that nimwit. Dude, seriously, you're an imbecile. If you had to figure out a way for Jalen Hurts to run the West Coast scheme, you'd be asking Chat GPT. That's another good one. That guy, Philadelphia, is an imbecile. Let's see here. Will Jalen Hurts be able to run the West Coast offense in 2026? Does Jalen Hurts have the ability to run a West Coast offense? It will be a struggle. Oh, my God. I've never in my wildest imagination ever thought I'd come up with something that Nick had that was really a great idea. Eagles had a top defense and still lost in the playoffs. The Magic 8 Ball. Chat GPT, how can I perform miracles to get my... How can I get Jalen Hurts to play on time and throw with accuracy? Improving Jalen Hurts' timing and accuracy in the passing game requires a focus on tightening up his mechanics, trusting pre-snap reads, and mastering the new offense. Oh, man. Jesus criminy. This is pretty dope. Hey, let me ask this question. Has Dan Sileo been right about Jalen Hurts' hold on. Has Dan Sileo of JAKIB Sports been right about Jalen Hurts' skill as a quarterback in the NFL. Whether Dan Sileo of JAKIB Sports has been right about Jalen Hurts is a matter of intense debate, as he has maintained a highly critical, resulted-oriented perspective on Hurts' passing capabilities while acknowledging his tangible skills. Sileo's primary arguments and evaluations, the caboose analogy. Look at this shit. The caboose analogy. Sileo has consistently characterized Hurts as a caboose who succeeds by relying on elite talent supporting cast, such as a dominant offensive line, run game, top-tier receivers, and others. Criticism of his passing metrics. Sileo frequently points out that Hurts' pure throwing ability, progressions, and passing statistics do not rank him among the upper echelon. Deeply, look at this. Whether Dan Sileo, JAKIB Sports, has been right about Jalen Hurts is a matter of intense debate. All right. Intense debate. Sills, I promise you, it's not me that won't get it. It's something you're not comprehending. Okay. Is Jalen Hurts a caboose? Only guy calling him that is Sileo. All right. Hey, don't forget, my good friends at Morgan & Morgan, the number one injury law firm in all of America for a reason. It's because they win. With over $30 billion recovered, there's no firm like it. We've got folks that watch our show that are using Morgan & Morgan. So proud that you guys have. They will defend your family like no other. John and Ultima Morgan put this company together over 25 years ago to make sure a family like yours is being defended. Do me a favor and go to forthepeople.com/big sales or #529. That's forthepeople.com/big sales or #529. And do me a favor, you tell them Big Sales sent you.
Yeah! There's a reason the Karate Master was the #1 salesman in the lumber department.
Karate.
Just like there's a reason Morgan & Morgan is America's largest injury law firm. Injured? With over $25 billion recovered for our clients, there's a reason to go big. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm.
Ignite your nights with free live entertainment daily, only at Live Casino and Hotel Philadelphia's Center Bar. 7 days a week, enjoy some of the region's top party bands, performers, and DJs as they take the stage in the heart of the casino action. Great cocktails, live music, and lively moments. It's all happening at Center Bar at Live Casino and Hotel Philadelphia. Visit livecasinophilly.com for more details and the complete list of upcoming events. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
This is Eric. When he got injured in a car accident, he called Morgan & Morgan. He not only gets a lawyer, he gets trial lawyers like Sam and Jessica who are in it to win it. He gets his own investigators with briefcases, leather ones. And if you ever have questions, our customer service folks keep things rolling. Injured? We're your army. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm.
Welcome to the Jet Setters and the High Rollers, to the Shot Takers and the Tastemakers. Welcome to the Viewfinders, the Thrill Seekers, and the Night Owls. Welcome to everything you could possibly want on one 5-mile island. Welcome to the Wildwoods. Book your stay today.
In our hometown, we all look out for each other. We go the extra mile to lend a helping hand.
Thank you.
We step up to keep our communities going strong. And at Independence Blue Cross, we're here to keep you going strong. We've been deeply rooted in our communities for more than 85 years. And that connection to members has earned us our spot as the #1 health insurer in the region. So while you look out for your neighbors, know IBX is always looking out for you.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on Sports Grid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on Sports Grid.
EAGLES. Eagles.
We appreciate each and every single one of you. Thank you so much. Battle Royale tomorrow, too, by the way. That ought to be interesting. We will see you then. Hit the like button. 2 to 6 tomorrow. We'll catch you on the flip side.